What up, 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 what up? What's going on out there, America? What's good? It's your boy Rod, Don. We are in the building, ready for another fire episode of Brooklyn Bears Ball Sports Show. Listen, boy, a whole lot, and just a whole lot more. That's what we do here at the sports show. You know what I'm saying? We get ready to talk second half NBA. We'll talk a little bit about the Super Bowl, of course. We're going to talk about the NFL season come next year. You know, we ain't only got a couple more months before the NFL is back at it again. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to it, man. And before we kind of get into all this good stuff that we're talking about, particularly with the NBA, listen, I need you to subscribe to this channel, all right? Subscribe to this channel, like this channel, share this channel, YouTube, Facebook, comment, all right? Do us that love, man. We appreciate all the followers and the support and everybody that's been rocking with Brooklyn Bears and Ball Sports Show, man. It's your boy Rod. Don is in the building with the thugged out, you know what I'm saying, hood on, doing this thing, looking real Brooklyn right now. What's up, D?
What's going on? I got my throwback Kyrie Brooklyn Nets hoodie on today. Feeling good. Brooklyn, what is there to say? I will say this. Bridges is a really, really good piece. He's nice a good piece. He's not on the level of, a Kevin Durant. He's not a superstar.
No.
But they're going to be a tough team. It's going to be a tough out. But let's before we get into all that, listen, like, share, subscribe to our Facebook and YouTube page. Please, we appreciate all of the feedback that we're receiving from everyone. We like it, we love it, we want more of it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so let's quickly talk about what, post Super Bowl. Let's talk about some things. I know that everyone was up in arms about, what was a controversial call. That ultimately sealed the game. But when you think about it, the game isn't lost on one play. It's not one play that you could say, there are plays that are contributing factors to an overall victory or loss, but there is not a one play that pretty much closes the game out. That's the only reason a team lost.
Right.
And of course, Kansas City was victorious. They're a great team. And I think on a few levels, there was some disadvantages.
Right.
On paper, it seemed like top to bottom, the Eagles had a better team. But it came down to, obviously, offensively, they had a better quarterback.
Right.
I think there was a huge, it was a huge coaching edge.
Right.
Because the second half adjustments really made the difference. At first, when you think about it, the time of possession, it should have been a landslide in the Eagles' favor. But ultimately, because of the second half adjustments and looking into the camera, when the lights got so big and everything got tight and every possession, every play was, had a major significance, that's when, the cream always rises to the top.
Right.
So ultimately, the fact that Andy Reid, Eric Beienemy, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, been there and done that, that was the edge up. That's what really put them over the top. So, kudos to them. What do you say?
Yeah. No doubt, man. No, I feel you. I think my biggest takeaways is that the Eagles defense was the losers of that game. You couldn't get a stop. So their defense was the losers. No sacks. You got a little bit of pressure on Mahomes here and there, but overall you did nothing. The pass rush was it was non-existent, zero factor. And that was the thing that everybody talked about being their strength, of course, leading the league in sacks. One of the top defenses ever to play the game, in terms of getting sacks within a regular season. And they couldn't do nothing, So kudos to the offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs, who, in my opinion, are the, quasi MVPs, if you will. Obviously Mahomes well-deserved MVP, but they're the MVP of that Super Bowl. I thought they did what nobody expected them to do, and that was to not neutralize but dominate the defensive line of the of the Philadelphia Eagles, not only in the pass rush, but also in the run game too. I mean, old boy, what's his name? Piaski, whatever, the young rookie right there. He rocked out. He had about 86 yards on 15 carries. He played really well.
Oh, Pacheco.
Yeah, Pacheco. Shout out to the Pacheco family. Yeah. Listen, I'm from New York, man. I'm a
Basquiat,
Picasso,
Pizza, Basquiat.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's the man Locks right now. You know what I'm saying? But listen, it's all good. I think again, there was an offensive line for the Chiefs for me. I think they dominated both in the run and the pass pro. And to me, that was the thing. The Eagles defense couldn't get a stop. Look, bad. It was the right call at the wrong time. We would love to have seen Jalen Hurts get the ball back, right? Just as fans and those that are entertained by the sport of football, Super Bowl, biggest stage of all, you want to see that game go down, especially as good as the game was, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you wanted that finish, right? And so it would have been nice to see that. But, listen, Bradbury, man, you not held him once, but twice, got him on the fake crosser and then was getting ready to run the wheel route and, he mixed them around. And that was a call. That was the only holding call throughout the entire game. And they missed one earlier on Bradbury. And he admitted it after the game, right? He said, look, I held it, thought the rest would, not call it. But, it is what it is. And, that's what you get to. Look, I don't feel bad for the Eagles. I hate the Eagles with all passion, heart, soul, mind, and body. I don't like them. I hate them. I'm glad that they lost. I'm glad to see Sirianni lose. It was one part in there, man. I'll say it real quick, man. He's like a child sometimes, right? When they was reviewing the play, I think it was the Goddard catch. I'm not sure. I can't remember which play it was. And he's over on the sideline pointing first down. And it takes Jalen Hurts to put his arm down, coach, chill out. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it's a shame that the 22-year-old quarterback has got to be more mature, than his head coach. You know what I'm saying? And it's just he's just arrogant to me. But look, that's Philly, right? That's what Philly does. It's who they are. It's the whole, bravado, arrogance that they bring, right? That's just the culture of their city, if you will. And so I understand he has to, kind of mimic that and highlight that in his personality. But yeah, man. But listen, good game. And the question is, D, and I know there's been a talk all week, man. What say you, man? Are the Chiefs a dynasty right now?
Definitely. There's no question that they are. Their success in a short period of time, and the consistency of their players come, players go. I think this particular championship, there was only 3 players from the last Super Bowl they won: Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce. Obviously, of course, the coaching of Eric Beienemy and Andy Reid, but 3 core players still be the same result. Right. Still hoisting the trophy at the end. So that speaks a lot about their consistency, the age of their players. Now, obviously, Travis Kelce is getting a little long in the tooth, not based on production. I'm just saying age-wise. Yeah. So they're going to have to backfill positions. The benefit of it is why I say that they are a dynasty and they have an opportunity. They have the runway to actually become a huge dynasty is based off of the quarterback play, the fact that he already offered and gave them a very team-friendly contract. So they are able to add pieces. Correct. I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg with Kadarius Toney. I think under Andy Reid, I think if he stays and they decide to sign him, I think he is going to be a huge impact player. I mean, he had some major plays. He scored that big, kickoff return, punt return. Yeah. That was, those things were pivotal. And he came in, he's dealing with injuries, so he's injury prone. But if he gets into a system where he can thrive, and clearly, he's an impact player. So in that system, he should be able to thrive. Now, with Eric Beienemy, it appears that he's going to, with 2 Super Bowls, all of this success, why does Eric Beienemy get a lateral position? And so for me, There's talk that he's supposed to become the new OC of the Washington Commanders. Right. I would never take that job.
No.
You wouldn't go. I wouldn't go from if I'm not going and being elevated to a head coach,
which could be the case. Unless they've, and I don't know, Ron Rivera, I know he's beloved there, right? But I don't know, unless there's some kind of indication, or even Ron Rivera's like, look, I'm probably most likely going to move on. Let's morph Beienemy in. Unless that's the situation, something unbeknownst.
Even if that is the case, there is all negatives to taking the Washington job. You get an opportunity, right? But as we know, all good money is not all money is not good money, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Let me just play a little money to burn. Now, they could have gave him a ton of money to take that job. The only problem with it is this. Number one, the Commanders are getting sold, right? So you're not guaranteed to make it past the new regime. They may be like, hey, we don't like you. We don't like bald head dudes. We got to get you up out of here. So then what did you do? You left. Nagy is waiting for your position. His mouth is watering for you to leave so he can slide into that position to kind of segue and leverage that into another head coaching job, right?
Correct.
Because that's what happens. When you have that kind of success, when you win Super Bowls as an offensive coordinator, this is an anomaly. Normally, you get a head coaching job.
Absolutely.
But I understand that he has to leave under Andy Reid in order to, kind of free himself and say, hey, I'm my own man. I'm calling the plays and I contribute to our success.
That's a good point.
I just wouldn't do it with Washington. The team is being sold. Who is your quarterback? There's a high level of dysfunction and there are too many, and it's a lateral move. So with all the dysfunction, a lateral move, you don't know who your quarterback is. Even if they promised you, hey, Ron Rivera is going to, he's here for another year, or we're not going to renew his contract. You're kind of the next up and coming, depending on how it pans out. It still wouldn't. I would just stay there. When Ron Rivera vacates the seat, let me slide in as a head coach. But in the meantime, I could win another Super Bowl or two, and then it might open me up to many more opportunities. Why go from a very stable organization to a totally dysfunctional? I mean, there's all kinds of things swirling around Snyder and that organization. Plus, they don't have a quarterback. So you go from Patrick Mahomes to Taylor Heineke. You don't know who your quarterback is. So I wouldn't have made that move, and it was lateral. At the end of the day, even if they gave him money out the wazoo, money to burn, it was a lateral move. So I wouldn't have done it.
No, I totally agree. I think you're right about that. I think you make a good point about the team being sold, and that could be the reason why they may have even bothered to hire Eric Beienemy. Might have been a move that Snyder would have signed off on if he was keeping the team. At this point, he could probably care less, obviously, right? And so you're right about that. So many uncertainties around that team, particularly at the quarterback position. And, the thing is this, I do like, and I think you bring up a good point I didn't think about. I think Beienemy gets a chance to kind of see. Now, again, you got weapons in Washington, you just don't have a quarterback, right? So you figure now Beienemy kind of have to put himself in that position to say, okay, can I build a quarterback? Am I able to take a quarterback, whoever that might be, take him to the next level, and then people can see me actually call the plays? So if there's any level of success in Washington offensively, then you can attribute that to obviously Eric Beienemy, because Ron Rivera is a more defensive-minded coach, and so any success that they'll have is definitely going to be attributed on the offensive side of the ball. That is, it's going to be attributed to Beienemy. So he gets a chance to kind of stand alone. He kind of comes out from under the shadows, to your point, D. With Andy Reid, that sort of thing. But again, it's not a job that I would have taken. I would have stayed comfortable with success in Kansas City. Won another couple Super Bowls. And speaking of a couple Super Bowls, I'm a little reserved to call them a dynasty yet, because I need them to win at least 2 more Super Bowls, at least 4. Because a dynasty to me, you got to have at least 4 Super Bowls within, I would say, a 6 to 7 to 10 year span. So 3 to 4 Super Bowls is what I'm kind of looking at. When you look at them Steelers of the 70s, you look at the 49ers of the 80s, Dallas of the 90s, and then the Patriots in the 2000s and the 2010s. You got to have at least, they got the appearances, no doubt. They got the appearances, but Denver had appearances in the 80s, 4 Super Bowls, they lost. Buffalo, 4 Super Bowls in the 90s, they lost. Great teams, of course. They got Hall of Famers from those teams. But I think when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, clearly they're on their way to being a dynasty, and I think they will be. I think they're right there on the cusp, of course. 5 straight AFC championships. You got 3 Super Bowl appearances. You won 2 or 3, which is very good. And, I got them again winning next year. Again, I think they're going to win again next year. I think they're going to sign another good free agent wide receiver they're going to be able to plug in there as well, like you say, because they are, I would imagine, thinking about Kelsey at some point and what they're going to have to do to kind of supplement him, but he's still playing at a high level. So I would say definitely, I don't disagree with you saying they're a dynasty. I wouldn't like, I'm not going to be adamant and dogmatic about refuting that. But I would say just based on history and what we've seen from dynasties, I would say you need at least 3 Super Bowl wins to then be considered a dynasty. So if they win a Super Bowl either next year, the year after, or get to the AFC Championship or to the Super Bowl again, I would then say now, to me, in my mind, they're a legitimate dynasty, like the ones that came before them.
Okay.
So, yeah. But I don't disagree. I think you're right on that, though.
I think that, I think they're young enough. I think they have
certainly
skilled players, and you have the quarterback position, because the problem is, and I think is going to be a problem for, perfect example, I think the Eagles. Jeffrey Lurie said, hey, he's already done everything he needs to do. Money's not going to be a problem. Absolutely. So you sign Jalen Hurts, and if Jalen Hurts, if he does one of those, I mean, he's young enough to do one of those kind of Patrick Mahomes type of deals, 10 years, $500 million. And so it's team friendly. They can stretch it out. And so you can still build around it.
Sure.
If he gets one of those contracts where I'm getting paid now, I'm getting the bag, which he has all right to. You don't
definitely
have
done
to.
That. He didn't have to work with them.
Right. Right now, Patrick Mahomes, everybody would take half a $500 million.
No doubt.
But he is really, when you think about what his worth is to that organization, what he has already brought to them, he's underpaid. So if Jalen Hurts takes that approach and he says, hey, I'm going to get my money, whatever the market value is, hey, I want a Deshaun Watson deal. I want I want a Kyler Murray deal. Whatever the case may be. If he wants his money up front, that hurts the ability to have a team the Cowboys are going to face that. They have an issue with, you have a quarterback, you have a running back that is overpaid. You got skill positions that are up for contracts. So it's going to be interesting. The teams that were able to be successful with a cheap quarterback, those days are coming to an end. I want to see what the Cincinnati Bengals do, okay? Because you got to pay Joe Burrow. Let's see if you're able to hold on to T. Higgins. He's a number 1. He may not want to, I'm just going to do it for the guys. He may not be interested in that. He may want money. I want $25 million a year as a number 1 receiver, and he should get it. He definitely can get it because his numbers are fantastic, being a number 2,
comparable to being.
And
number 1,
I think he's not going to fall into that Antonio Brown, juju, where once you become a number 1, you fold. Right? Because Juju looked unstoppable when he was number 2 to AB. But we really know when he became the number 1 receiver in Pittsburgh, he didn't live up to it. So I think T. Higgins, because of his style of play, his size, his hands, his speed, I think he will live up to being a number 1 receiver. So I say all that to say, all of the cheap quarterbacks that they're able to build pieces around, right? All of them are coming up, whether it's next year or the year after or in the off season. All of that's coming to an end. So we're going to see what teams are really made of. We're going to see what these organizations, these general managers are able to do with building a competitive team to really combat the Chiefs or any other team that's stacked that is win now ready. So we'll see. I don't think that it's going to be as easy when you got a quarterback that's making $3 million, has a 4-year deal, and they may have made $8 or $9 million, and now you have to pay them $48 million. Yep. Those cap implications is a big deal. It is. And so I think all of that's going to change. I think the competitive, level of these divisions, right? Because the NFC East was a shock, right? It was surprising how competitive and how great overall those teams were. Well, you got Jalen Hurts that has to get paid. They got to figure out what they're going to do with Daniel Jones. They got to figure out what they're going to do with Saquon Barkley. Cowboys have to figure out what they're going to do with Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, what they're going to do with Zeke, what they're going to do with Pollard. I don't mean to pile on with the Cowboys, but
no, but it's no. You're right.
Guys are somebody's level is going to dip.
Oh yeah, no.
People are going to get. You're going to lose people. There's no way. Nobody. These aren't the times where people are taking, hometown discounts and are willing to. Oh, I just like the team so much. Get your money because it's short-lived. The NFL is a short-lived. There aren't guarantees. So NBA, MLB, very different. Guaranteed contracts. Whatever that you sign that you're going to get every dime of that. Whether you're home on your couch, whether you get bought out, you can negotiate how much you're going to get of that, and then you can get picked up by another team. It doesn't work that way with the NFL. I was
going to say quickly that I agree with, and here's why I agree with your point on this. The reason why you see Brady and Mahomes where they can take these cap-friendly deals, right, and these salary-friendly deals is salary and cap-friendly, right, because it works for both the ownership and the player. But it's because they were winning before they got their money. And so when that player is seeing the success of the team, he's benefited from that success. In this case, Mahomes, they won before he got the money. So now he can take the friendly deal because he wants to continue to experience what he's done already, right? Same thing with Brady. Brady won and was winning before he started to get the high-tier contracts. To your point, and I agree with you, these are Herbert, Burrow, Jackson, the list goes on. Even Daniels, I think they want to offer him, $35 million a year, which I think is about right. I don't think he's a $40 million quarterback. I would only go 2 years with Daniel, to be quite honest with you, because he only showed me 1 year. But Hurts in that sense, too, coming up, I think those guys have got to take the bread and not try to do something that will be totally beneficial to the team. Why? Because those teams have not won. And there is no guarantee that those teams are going to even sniff another Super Bowl, again, or get close to a Super Bowl or even make any kind of dent in the playoffs. So if you're that guy who's a superstar and you keep your team competitive, but you're not at that echelon of a Mahomes or Brady, who for all intents and purposes is almost guaranteed a Super Bowl once every 2 years, at least a minimum, right? Then you're going to take your bread. Because if I can't win a chip, I'm going to at least make sure I get all my money and get as much as I can get. And I think that's why you make a valid point with that, D. I have to say, I'm in a lot of agreement with you today. But yeah, I think that's the real point there, because Brady and Mahomes were winning before the contract came. And that's why it's easy for a team to say, okay, you want to continue this? You want to continue this winning streak? You want to know what it continues to feel like to win and be a championship and go into pantheons of great quarterbacks and people talk about you to this level of greatness? Then guess what? Take something friendly. We're going to definitely pay you, but put some more years on that contract. Let's spread some money out. Let's be able to get some other pieces in so that you can continue to win. Because in all likelihood, if we keep you and 1 or 2 other guys in place, we're going to be pretty good. You got the coaching there already. They're already established. Listen, you can continue to win. Same thing with Belichick and Brady had. Brady obviously had the consistency in Belichick. So I think you make a great point with that. And then that's tied to me why Brady and Mahomes were friendly and they were willing to work with the organization to take less money so their teams can stay competitive. Whereas these other great quarterbacks that are coming up, your Burrows, your Justin Herberts, your Josh Allens, and all these guys, as their career continues to progress and they don't get into a Super Bowl or at least win one, listen, it's all about the bread. And ain't nothing else. That's why Aaron Rodgers is taking the money. Aaron Rodgers know he ain't gonna win no Super Bowl. He's not gonna win. That's why he's taking all the big money that he's gonna get. All right, Devontae, sorry about that. Go ahead, bro, because we ain't gonna win with you anyway. So go ahead and roll on. I'm just going to get my bread. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. So yeah, but I agree with your point.
And Green Bay has a long history of doing their quarterbacks dirty, right?
Absolutely.
So why not hey, listen.
I don't blame him.
Get all you can out of them. And another point.
Yeah.
I make good points all the time. Where have you been?
I don't.
Because you're like, you're making good points. I make good points all the time. But
every now and then
it dawns on people. Everybody has to come to themselves, and when they do, they realize something. So maybe you just, whatever you're drinking, you figure it out. It must be some.
Come out the darkness, huh?
Right, of course.
Coming through the light of Don's points.
Let's talk a little bit about the NBA.
NBA.
You know what? Before we do that, because I know you're excited about the half a game y'all won already. Let's talk about the coaching carousel before we move on to the NBA.
Yeah.
Okay, so Denver, they have a new head coach, right? And Sean Payton is their head coach. And they asked him, because the media can be so funny. They asked him about, some of the perks that they were giving to Russell Wilson. And, I'm sure he's aware of it, but he's like, oh yeah, that won't be tolerated in this organization. Or if I have anything to do with it, well, maybe you don't have anything to do with it. You're the head coach. You're not the owner of the team.
No, he isn't. But he was hired to have all the cachet to do what he wants.
Listen. Is he making $250 million?
No, he doesn't. No, he's not.
Okay.
But he's Sean Payton. That's why they brought him there. He's going to trump Russell. I don't think Russell Wilson is going to have more say than Sean Payton. It's not going to. Not with the year he just had. Nope.
I'm not going to say he has more to say, but I will say this. And this is the right organization. These are the right owners. Their pockets are super deep. So they have money to waste. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But when you factor in, even if Sean Payton is making $15 million a year, and that's astronomical for a head coach, even if he's making $20 million a year as a head coach, he's still not making more than Russell Wilson.
No, he's not.
So at that point, what if Russell Wilson says, you know what? These are my demands. These are what I came here with. And I'm not letting a head coach, let's just play a game and let's just look at it from another side. Let's just say Russell Wilson, Ciara, when he's talking to her, she's bent all the way back to the floor. And let's just say he says, I'm drawing a line in the sand. I came here. They knew what I needed in order to be comfortable. And now I'm not letting Sean Payton come at the 9th hour and try to change that. Regardless of however his season is, we understand that NFL players, high competitive athletes, they're used to things going their way. They're not used to hearing no a lot, honestly. And he has had a level of success. He is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. So what if he says, I'm drawing a line in the sand. They knew I needed my parking spot. They knew I need my armor bearer. Let's say they knew I needed my entourage.
Right.
They knew I needed my office. This is what will afford me. Hey, Nathaniel Hackett was not a good coach, but I can perform with a good coach. This is what he might be telling the organization. I need what I need. Who are they going? So you think that they're just going to let $250 something million up in smoke?
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you why. Because here's the key: the only way Russell could demand that whatever perks he had should still remain in place is he technically has to earn that this year, right? And he hasn't proven that yet. That would actually be a conversation that probably could take place as far as any demands after this season when he performs. But I think right now, and this is what I'm speculating that conversation is going like between him and Sean Payton. It's like, look, Russell, we're gonna change the culture around here. Okay, we have to put in a winning mentality. We have to make sure that we eradicate any type of illusion that this team is centered only around you and your demands and what's comfortable for you, right? We got to be able to assure the fan base that, listen, you're bought into a winning culture and into a major turnaround season, because you personally, regardless of Nathaniel Hackett, we know he was a bad coach, no question. He was highly contributable to the demise of that team season last year, right? But at the end of the day, all eyes are still on you. Hackett is not here anymore, right? So no one is looking to blame him anymore. We can't hold him to the fire any longer. We're looking at you, and we're going to need you to buy in to a winning coach, a coach that the ownership has brought in. Like you say, they got money to burn. If Sean Payton is saying, look, this guy don't want to give up any of his perks, for the sake of the team, for me to kind of help build the culture we need in this locker room and amongst the players and whatever have you, I think that's going to be a problem. And look, Russell has an image hit right now that he also has to kind of think about, because that needs to be restored. Let me tell you something. Like you said, they got money to burn. I'm not saying that they're going to cut him or they're going to trade him or anything like that, right? Because he has an enormous contract. But I'm going to tell you right now, whatever they will look at after this season, if it happens to turn that way where he doesn't want to bend and he wants to still hold his prima donna attitude, then they'll look at what their consequences are cap-wise after next year, and they may look to move off of him.
We'll say allegedly.
Yeah.
We don't know if he's
what.
We don't know if he has this. It's alleged. We'll just say allegedly he has these diva ways.
Look, let me tell you something. I say this about Russell Wilson, and the reason why I'm going to say this. Russell Wilson does not know how to, this is just my opinion. He's not a culture trender, or if that makes sense. He can't, or I would say a culture setter. He can't set cultural trends. Maybe that's the way I need to word that, right? Because again, you was under the guise of Legion of Boom. You were under the guise of the head coach there in Seattle. You had a running game with Marshawn Lynch. Okay, there were a lot of things that he was a part of, but he didn't set that image or that culture there. Okay, he wasn't even suspected to be a starter when he came into the building. And so the thing is that Russell now comes over with the cachet of the success that he rightfully earned in Seattle, even after the Legion of Boom had pretty much, demised or whatever have you. And then they kind of had to rebrand themselves a little bit. But at the end of the day, his success was attributed to that level of the Super Bowls they went to. He's coming into Denver as solo. It's not Russell Wilson and the rest of the guys or the team as a whole. It's just all Russell Wilson and what he is. And I think that's the thing Sean Payton is going to pull away from him. We're going to pull that away from you. We're going to make, you got a great defense here. You got some weapons on the outside. We're going to need you to assimilate a little bit more to a type of culture that we need to build that's inclusive of everybody. And we can't have you just doing your own thing over here, because you haven't earned that here in Denver. You earned it as a player in this league, but not here in Denver. And that's the difference. I think that I don't think he's that type of player that's going to say, well, I'm going to lead the charge and I'm going to set the tone here for the culture. That's not Russell. Russell is he's Russell Wilson. He's a nice guy. He's a good human being. He's a Christian. He stands in his faith and different things of that nature, but that doesn't transcend in the culture of the team. And I think that's where he lacks. And that's why Sean Payton is there to be able to establish that. And I think that's why he don't want to mess with that. If you're Russell Wilson, you better be careful, because trust me, they're not getting rid of Sean Payton. I think they would get rid of Russell Wilson before they get rid of Sean Payton, particularly if Payton is not, if Wilson is not playing well.
Okay, so if we're basing it off of name recognition and what they've done for other teams and earning it at their current location, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What has Sean Payton really done? Let's break down what Sean Payton, how great of a coach are we sure that Sean Payton is a great coach?
I think he's a very good coach. I wouldn't put him in the league with Belichick or Bill Walsh or Chuck Noll, but I would say he is a very good coach, though. I think he's a very good coach.
What has he
Possibly
done?
A Hall of Fame coach.
What is he? All right, he won a Super Bowl, right? But
he did.
What has he done? Okay, so let's look past that Super Bowl, right? He won the Super Bowl. What has he done since? Well, because we're putting a lot on Russell. We're putting a lot on Russell Wilson, and he had a bad year. He had a terrible year, right?
Horrible year.
But Payton's last year coaching was terrible also. So
well, remember he had bad quarterbacks. I mean, once Breeze left, I mean, look, you got Jameson, you got
Russell Wilson had bad coaching.
But Russell Wilson had weapons, and he had a good defense. So, I mean, he still had a really good team. I mean, in all fairness. I mean, Russ, you're supposed to at least elevate your team enough to not play that bad. I mean, he was putrid. He was rancid. He was horrible.
He had a bad year.
But a very bad year for a player of his caliber, that kind of quarterback. I mean,
right.
Look at, I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a second-year quarterback and got his team into the second round of the playoffs. Okay, and that's not a great team. He doesn't have like a lot of great weapons.
Well, it's a terrible division. It's a terrible division. Let's start with that. It's
okay, okay.
You have to play Patrick Mahomes all the time, right? So you're not in the same division with someone who went to 5 AFC championship games. So that in itself is a big feat, right? But let's just say, I understand what you're saying, and I agree that Russell Wilson has a lot to prove. What I push back on is the fact that Sean Payton has nothing to prove. Right at this point, Sean Payton is on name recognition. He hasn't done anything or shown anything that puts him or how do we know that he's going to be compared to Nathaniel Hackett? We expect him to be light years ahead as far as coaching and, in-game management and trying to, make adjustments. But how do we know he's a better coach than Andy Reid? How do we know he's a better coach than Josh McDaniels? How do we know he's a better coach than the guy in LA Chargers? We know his name, right? But he hasn't proven. If we go by track records and we go by the last time we seen them coach, there can always be an excuse. Oh, he didn't have a quarterback. Last I heard, Brian Daboll, they were trying to get Daniel Jones out of town. But what do good coaches do? They are able to take what they have, right, and make the most of it. And so if he had bad quarterback play, it is the coach's job to create an offense I mean, obviously they made it to the NFL. So they're not you and I, right? So they made it to the NFL. So they are good enough to be on an NFL roster. If he's a supreme coach, right? And he's supposed to be this guy that is a world changer, he should have been able to highlight whatever their gifts are, whatever their specialty is.
Yeah, he's done that. I mean, he's done that.
I think he has as much to prove as Russell Wilson. That's my point.
He's won 62% of his game. His career record as a coach is 161-97. 62% of his games as a head coach he has won. That is remarkable. Okay. That is really good. And not only that, the last time he coached, he was 9-8. Okay, bad. Look, he had no quarterback. Okay, no quarterback. But before that, he was in the NFC. They went 12-4, 13-3 in 2019. 13-3 in 2018, which they should have won that divisional game, the NFC Championship game against the Rams, if there wasn't for that bad pass interference call that they did not call. Then you have the 2017, he was 11-5. I mean, the guy, he's only missed the playoffs he's been coaching the Saints since 2006 all the way to 2021. He's only missed the playoffs 5 times. That's it. I mean, the guy
in a bad division
is a very good coach. No, but I mean, look, you had the Falcons that had some success during those years that played well. The Panthers with Cam Newton, very good team over the years. Okay, so they were very competitive. And last year he played against Tom Brady in a very competitive division. I'm not talking about this recent year, but the year before in 2020, he was 12-4 that season. That was the year they won the Super Bowl. The Buccaneers, that is. So I'm saying that you can't throw shade on Sean Payton. Look, I'm not saying he's Belichick or Bill Walsh, but you gotta Sean Payton, and he's a quarterback, offensive minded.
He could be a household name. He has just as much to prove.
I think he's more than that.
He has just as much to prove as Russell Wilson does. That's my point.
I don't know. I think Russ has a lot to prove. To prove.
So yeah. while you have your computer, tell me Russell Wilson's a winning percentage.
Okay, let's look at this. As a coach, I mean, as a quarterback.
Yeah, and tell me his winning percentage. Tell me also, we'll take last year out of it, right? And we'll take Sean Payton's last year out of it. Let's see what Russell Wilson's numbers look like. He is a winner also. So I think both of them.
He is.
I mean, trust me, I know because we played. He was in my division for the entirety or the majority of his career.
He's 107 and 64 as a starter. That's very good. That's extremely good.
107 and 64
and 1. Yeah, that's very good as a starter. Yeah, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is a very good quarterback, and I think the expectations that are going to be on him this year are reasonable based on his career. Look, I mean, that's why Sean Payton is there, right? To help turn Russell around, I think, from this 1 year. Because clearly Russell wasn't able to do it, even despite the poor coaching of Nathaniel Hackett, right? But you have enough cachet over Nathaniel Hackett to say, look, you know what? We're not running that, or we're not going to do that. We're going to do this. Like, you know, Peyton Manning did that. Tom Brady, even with a guy like Belichick, who was a coach that's like a what do you call it guy, right? He's a tyrant for all intents and purposes, right? He wants massive control, and yet Brady was able to bring stuff to the plate along with Josh McDaniels to say, hey, what are you seeing out there? What are we looking at offensively? Like, come on, Russell, you could have. I'm not saying that again, Nathaniel Hackett is absolved of being a bad coach, definitely. But Russell Wilson, you could have done a lot more than what you've done. You played bad throws, bad games, bad decisions. I mean, like, I like, come on. And if that system wasn't working for you, you should have been vocal about it. That should have, as you got to the team, you was there in the offseason. You had plenty of time to install the kind of offense that you thought would work based on the weapons that you have and work with that coach, right? I mean, that's what you would have to do. And that's what Peyton Manning did when after Tony Dungy left and they brought in Caldwell. He was able to still be Peyton Manning, right? Because that's who he is. And Russell Wilson, we think of him as that type of quarterback in this league that could say, hey, okay, we got a new coach in here. I mean, I'm at a new team. I got a coach that's not really, you know, all of that, if you will. But you got to still be able to throw your weight around and say, you know what, this doesn't work. Like, at some point, you had to realize that what they were doing and what they were running was not effective. And so, I mean, you know, that's my thing. So Sean Payton is coming in there. Why did they hire a guy like Sean Payton? They wanted somebody with clout, a name, who was somewhat going to be on the level of Russell Wilson and say, no, we're going to hold you accountable, because Nathaniel Hackett definitely couldn't do that. He wasn't going to hold
They didn't need Sean Payton. They didn't need Sean Payton to bring a coach in to hold him accountable. I think that they want to snatch headlines. We're talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. Now there is talk that the defensive coordinator is going to be foot fetish Rex Ryan. He's coming back, and he's going to leave, you know, pretty much discussing football, ESPN.
Which I'm glad, because he's horrible. He's horrible.
You know,
Rex is bad. I'm sorry.
I don't know if he's bad. It's he's not the type of person that's going to have meticulous notes, and he can go on, you know, breaking down specifics to a player. He's kind of, I'm going off my gut, how I feel about the situation. And there is a place for that. You know, if it was just him, I would say, okay, yeah, maybe he's not the greatest person for it. But there's a combination of people that are breaking down more statistically, you know, information there. So I think he's a good balance to it.
He adds nothing to me. I mean, with all of his defensive insight, and he is a good defensive coach, and he had great success even with the Jets as a head coach, right?
Correct.
Primarily because of their defense, though, right? Which he oversaw. So he's a good defensive coach, and I get it. Some people don't articulate what their thoughts are, or because they're more hands-on, they tend to do things or express what they're really good at in different ways. And Rex is not this articulate guy. I know I was looking for him to go up there and be like this scholarly guy of football to articulate it the way maybe a Dan Orlowski or Brian Baldinger or NFL Network, you know, none of like that. But what I'm saying is that he doesn't really add anything. Even when he makes his contribution, it's like, okay, Rex, you didn't really say anything other than like, this guy is bad. Like, this guy, what are you doing? Like, what is you? I mean, they didn't say anything. So, I don't know. He's bad. But I mean, I'd be interested to see that too, because you know what? In my mind, if Rex's philosophy of defense might be a little dated, we got to see what's going on. I mean, I don't know. I'm a little surprised at that call. I think they, could have, I'd like to probably see somebody up and coming, somebody young, and somebody, because I don't think you needed to change anything defensively, and I'm not familiar with the whole backstory with Denver, but did they need to bring in a new DC?
Once again, when new coaches come, they want who they want,
which is true.
And so that's, that speaks to the whole Eric Beienemy going to Washington when the team is still in the middle of possibly being sold. Yeah. So I would say he came out to be one of the top candidate. I don't think the deal is inked yet. I don't know if he is now, has been named the defensive coordinator, but there is a chance. And of course, there's no salary cap on what you can pay these players. These coaches.
Yeah, right, I agree.
You can pay him whatever. And if the Waltons want to pay him something ridiculous and give him an offer that he can't refuse, he'll be right there on the sideline. Blue eyes and white teeth. He has some of the whitest. I mean, those veneers are.
Who are you talking about? With Rex? You talking about? Rex. Yeah,
Rex. His eyes. Yeah. His eyes are like glowing, and his teeth are glowing also. But
I don't understand. You have the 7th best total defense in the league, the Denver Broncos. Like, I don't understand. But like you say, clearly Payton who he wants in there. So
they want names. Clearly they want. When you look on their sideline, they want big names. They're obviously, because you
gotta sell tickets, man.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
right. And the fan base
the fan base is frustrated. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look at Phoenix, right? We're talking NBA, but look at Phoenix. They have a brand new owner. The owner does not care. He doubled his luxury tax overnight. He can care less about money, Yeah. I don't care what I have to pay the coaches, but at least you're talking about us. We'll go on what I think, the potential, what they can do, what they can bring to the table. And hey, if they don't, we have enough money. Hey, we'll pay them. Y'all go on about your business. We'll get somebody else, another big name we think that can come and do the job. But as long as they're making moves like that, we're talking about them. People are talking about them. And it stays in the, the sports news cycle. Yeah. That's half the battle. At the end of the day, people are intrigued about, hey, is Sean Payton going to be able to, turn Russell Wilson around? Never mind, is Sean Payton going to, is he any better than any other young coach, probably for cheaper?
I can't believe you hate
I'm not sold on him. I'm not sold on him. I'm not sold on him.
Very, very good coach. I mean, and look, and I'm not being biased because he came up out of the Cowboys coaching camp when he was coaching as a quarterbacks coach under Bill Parcells back with Dallas.
But I thought you might have been doing that because of his connection to the Giants, because you secretly like the Giants. I know you accused me of that, but I think
you are. You love the Giants. I hate the Giants. You want to talk about them? You want to talk about the Giants right now? What you want to talk about? The Giants right now.
Right. I did slip in Brian Daboll. You saw it.
Yeah, you did. I noticed that. Yeah.
But listen, let's and we got Eric Beienemy, we got Sean Payton, we got Rex Ryan. 49ers, real quick, I'll just say this: we have a new defensive coordinator, Steve Wilkes. I'm just shocked at that. Carolina didn't sign him. I'm what he did with that team. They traded away the best player, and Christian McCaffrey, and he got that team to play, and they had a shot with all of that being gutted to actually win their division. They didn't win the division, but it's, it just goes to show it doesn't matter.
Who did they? And like I said, in part of me, America, I had some stuff going on in my personal life. I haven't been able to really follow up much. Who did Carolina hire as their coach?
I don't know. I don't even remember. I forget. I remember the name coming across, and it wasn't Steve Wilkes. And then I was just kind of.
Oh wait, oh no.
Because
Frank Wright. It's Frank Wright. That's right.
Frank Wright. They got him. Okay. He's not a bad coach, but clearly they're recycling. And I'm not saying Steve Wilkes has had a head coaching job, but what I'm saying is they just recycle the same coaches, and it's a network. Right. And this is what people have to understand. It's a network, and they're not going to let any Rooney Rule, anything, any additional picks. Nope. They're not going to let the NFL decide, or they don't care about public opinion. They're not going to let any of that be a determining factor as to who they hire. They're going to hire who they want to hire. Yep. We always look at celebrities, right? And you'll look at celebrity, you're like, all the people in the world. Why did these two rappers, one just broke up and then they're dating the same woman, 2 weeks later? Right. They were at this award show together. Now, they said that they're broke up, and now we see it's the same thing with the NFL. Yeah. They're just recycling the same people, regardless of the dysfunction, how it ended at their last location. Hey, I can fix it. You know what? I'm going to pay. They throw money at them. There are coaches, and I saw an article where they're saying you have to try to make it work a little bit. Like, you're just throwing money around, and although the NFL has all this money, these, whether they're firing these players, firing the coaches, it seems like the same coaches always end up with a job. Yeah. And the ones that are on the outside stay on the outside. Now, it was very surprising that a great defensive coordinator, D'Amico Ryans, was able to land a head coaching job. But look how long it took for Arizona to decide on their head coach. After the Super Bowl, they decided.
Oh yeah, they took the Phillies OC, right? Is that
right? All right, yeah, both of them. The OC got a job, and the DC got a job. Right. So they completely. So that already lets you know that the Eagles are not going to be as good as they were. They're losing a lot. The combination of paying Jalen Hurts, when you do pay him, people are going to leave in free agency. People are going to try to go to the highest bidder. You lose the consistency of your offensive and defensive coordinator. Right. So we're going to see what happens. It's going to be a very interesting season coming up. Yeah, it is. And seeing how everyone's able to navigate now that things are going to change. But let's talk about the NBA. Let's get into that. All right. We've already have dealt, and we kind of talked about, Kyrie Irving departing for Dallas. Also, Kevin Durant in the midnight hour departing for Phoenix. And, they're now, I think, the second, they're favored, or I think they're number 2, shortest odds to win it all. Okay. And I think rightfully so. I think they have a really good team. They have a big 4 if everyone plays, and everyone plays ball, quote unquote, and buys into what Kevin Durant brings to the table. But what I want to highlight is they had a press conference. The Super Bowl was in Phoenix, right? So they had a press conference, and, he was talking about his time in Brooklyn. And one of the beat writers or reporters asked him, what do you think about the whole Brooklyn experience? Or I'm paraphrasing, but he was like that, ultimately, how do you feel about your time in Brooklyn? And Kevin Durant, I'll say this, man, I like Kevin Durant. I do. I like Kevin Durant. You don't like him. I like Kevin Durant. No, you do. You don't like him. I like Kevin Durant.
He's one of the greatest players to play the game of basketball.
I'll say this, but he got choked up. He got choked up because he did not hide from the fact that it was a failure, right? Yeah. And he couldn't. He couldn't.
He did, but yeah, go ahead.
But I mean, so things that are obvious. Let me ask you a question. This is kind of off the subject, but did LeBron take responsibility for Westbrook, the failure of Westbrook?
No, but we still know that they're
not going to win the championship this year, right? So what my point is things can be obvious, but it still takes a person to own it and verbalize it that, hey, this was a failure. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's good, but I mean, he couldn't. I mean, he can't say that there was success in Brooklyn.
He could have glossed over it. People don't have to answer specific questions. How many times has someone been asked something specifically and they beat around the bush, but they don't get to the answer? They'll kind of gloss over it, and he could have done that. He said,
but even if he answered the question and say, "Well, how would you surmise your time in Brooklyn, or how would you, how would you express your time in Brooklyn?" And if he just says, even if he doesn't say that it was a failure, right?
It was a failure.
Right. But I'm saying if he says something else, we still know it was a failure. Even if he doesn't say it, everybody knows it was a failure. And he would have to know that it was a complete debacle and a complete failure in Brooklyn. Whether he says, but my point is, whether he says it or not, it's glaring and clearly obvious that was a failure. So I mean, whether he says it or not doesn't matter. But I mean, but I'm speaking to
the fact that he owned it.
He owned it. Okay, that's cool.
He didn't. He didn't deny that. You don't take much from that. I actually do. I like when someone is accountable. I like even if it's on a billboard. Failure, you still have to say, yes, it was a failure.
I agree.
I'm not happy with how everything turned out. But my point is that he got choked up about it because he actually built really good relationships. And so what I got from it, most importantly, is that honestly, I think that the ownership and Sean Marks didn't try hard enough to persuade Kevin Durant to stay. It really seems like he didn't want to go. This was just, I heard reports that one thing I did hear a report about is that he cannot, and it was, I guess, gnawing at him to play with Ben Simmons. Somebody who is just, I think when you think about it, and I'm thinking about it this way, imagine someone who has put forth so much time, injured, worked their way back, has played a long career, right? Way longer than Ben Simmons. You have worked your way back from significant injuries. You're putting in the time to master your craft. And someone who has God-given ability is not mastering or taking full advantage of the tools of it. That has to bother you.
Oh, and absolutely.
You're getting paid big money. So I think that was something that was a contributing factor to him ultimately saying, I got to get out of here. But I don't think this trip or this, of course he has his preference, what teams he wants to go to. And when you are of that stature, as far as, your ability, you can pick, choose, and refuse. So I look at it after this press conference that he just wasn't looking to bolt on Brooklyn. He made a decision for himself. He was accountable that it was a failure, but there were contributing factors. Obviously, the availability of players. He spoke, about the availability of Kyrie. That was a blow to them, and their identity shifted based on that. And so there are a lot of things. I wish Kevin Durant well. I don't have any ill will towards him, and really, honestly, Kyrie either. I mean, I'm still wearing my throwback Kyrie hoodie today, so I mean, I'm all for them making the decisions that make them happy. Of course, my team it left my team with glaring holes, but overall, I'll say this: the Brooklyn Nets are going to right now. We're in 5th place. And I think that we are in the East currently. Yeah. Honestly, I think we're the 4th best team in the East. I think if whoever we play, in the first round, I think we'll beat. If we play Miami, if we play Cleveland, this is for you. We're going to send them home. I think in the first round, we'll beat those teams. I think we have enough. We have the depth. I think we have, Jacques Vaughn is coaching well.
Yes, he is.
And so I think we have enough to beat those teams.
Yeah, I think
one team that is supposed to be this, world beater and people should be concerned with is the Philadelphia 76ers. And that is the team out of the top tier that I actually think we can beat in the playoffs. To be honest, call me crazy, but I'm not worried about Embiid. I'm not worried about James Harden. I think if we play and now that we're not contenders, we're not going to get anyone that's interested in the buyout to come to us, a big man that would just help us as far as size and depth. But I think we're going to be, I think we'll win, we'll definitely win the first round. And I think if we lose in the second round, they're definitely going to know they played us. What do you say?
I say, listen to what I say. Okay, let me go back to a couple things real quick. So with KD going to Phoenix, I would have liked to see Brooklyn have held on to him if they could have, at least for this season. Absolutely. Maybe make the trade in the offseason. I just felt like maybe they could have still gotten some more for him, I think, or maybe we got another superstar caliber player for KD. But at the same time, I'm not mad that they traded him. I think it's good for Brooklyn. It's good for the organization that they start fresh. Get rid of KD, get rid of Kyrie, get rid of them both. Just distance yourself from any history that you've had with them as best as you possibly can and rebuild. You got a good coach in Jacques Vaughn. So I like the Nets. I like what you guys got some pieces there. Mikal Bridges, like you said, he's not a superstar, but he's a good player, right? Hopefully you can get some guys to come there and we get to see what Sean Marks can really do, right? Because I really felt Brooklyn had an opportunity to build a nice team when they had Dinwiddie the first time. You had Karis LeVert. You had some good players there. You had Jared Allen. You guys had a really good nucleus of young players at one point before the KDs and Kyries got there. And I think that's really what I think you guys can get back to again. And you guys can make some noise. I think you're probably better than Cleveland and Minnesota on any given night. I think y'all are kind of like in the middle of the pack now with those teams. I wouldn't say you are definitively the fourth best team. I think, again, any given night, you could be better in Cleveland. You could be better in Miami. But one of those, you're kind of in that middle of the pack there. I agree with you with Philly. I think Philly's got to get to the finals. Simple as that. Okay, Doc Rivers chokes. Embiid, he can't stay healthy. He's the AD of the Eastern Conference, in my opinion. I don't care. He's a baller. He rocks out. I like Maxey a lot. Harden is averaging 10 assists a game. They seem to play well, but you got to see them in a series. For me, Philly has to work in a series. I'm not concerned about them in a regular season. So to me, the NBA is all about the playoffs. That's what it comes down to. Very quickly, I will say about KD going to Phoenix, right? He still has 3 years on his deal. He'll stay there, right? My thing is this. I like that KD now will finally have an opportunity to possibly be the real leader of the team, right? Devin Booker is a star. I don't think he's a superstar. I think he's a star. I think in my mind, there's levels to this, and I don't think he is a superstar. But he is. You have a star, you have a superstar, then you have great. Okay, Booker is a star. That's just the way it is. He's a star. He's not going to lead anybody anywhere. He can't be the best player on his team. If he's the best player on his team, you're going to have a Portland Trailblazers all over again. You got Ayton there, who's a good player. You got, now again, you got Chris Paul, who's older, right? He's not your long-term future. It's KD's team. And so you got KD with a nice, good star player and Booker. So now he really gets a chance to take the team, right? Because Booker is not Kyrie. So he now will have an opportunity, and I'm interested in seeing KD really now take a team and try to get them into the finals if he can, because it'll be his team. And unlike Golden State, where you had a plethora of great players, superstars like Clay and Steph, who Steph could probably be almost in that great category now because it's great superstar star. I think he's kind of in the middle between superstar and great, right? And KD was able to benefit off that with his greatness, because I do believe KD is a great player, but he benefits in that from what he had at Golden State. And then, of course, in Brooklyn, you could have had something really nice there in Brooklyn if Kyrie would have not spoiled it. But I think that's just what you get. So I like you. I like to see what KD's going to do. He's the man. This is his team. So now let's see if he's not the bus rider he's been all along.
Oh, my God. Yeah, listen, is KD great or is he a superstar? I was confused by your hierarchy.
All right, let me tell you this. Okay, let me track. Hold on. Let me because sometimes I talk so fast, I lose my way a little bit. Here's the thing. and you might not agree with me. And I know
let me take this hood off.
Take it so you can hear. So I need you to hear. Okay, KD is a superstar. He's not great. He's a superstar. Great is LeBron, Michael.
Oh my God.
Great is Magic. KD is a superstar, but he's not great because he's not the leader of a team to win. Greatness to me, when you look at all the great guys, they were leaders of teams. You know, Montana is great.
No. But that's your definition of it. That's your definition.
But it's consistent. But it's a definition that's consistent. Look at all the great players that you've ever seen play. All right, we're gonna talk about basketball, right? Look at all the great players in the NBA that's played over a generation is 20 years, right? In sports. So you look at all of the great players. You had Duncan, you had Kobe and Shaq, right? But you know, that can intertwine.
Whoa.
Team early.
How you saying Kobe and Shaq? I don't understand.
What I'm saying is that when you look at the great play,
who was great with Kobe and Shaq?
Let me come back.
Come on back.
Shaq is a superstar. Kobe, I'm just serious, right? Now,
okay, I'm listening.
Kobe is, in my opinion, okay. He went to 3 straight finals without Shaq, 1-2 back-to-back. Okay, and I mean 1-2 of the 3. Right? No, 1-2 back-to-back because they lost to Boston, then he beat Orlando, then he came back and played Boston again. And he won back-to-back, right? Where he was, even though Pau Gasol is a very good, Pau Gasol was a, in my opinion, he was a star. I don't think he was a superstar, according to my definition. So Kobe, in my opinion, was a great player. He led his team to a finals, to 3 straight final appearances, winning 2 of them. I think that's great. Shaq does he win those 3 without Kobe? No.
So Shaq is not a great player, is what you're saying. Because you're doing a lot of talking around.
Shaq is a great player.
Get to it. Is he a great player now?
Duncan is a great player.
But KD is not a great player. He's just a superstar.
He's a superstar. Because he hasn't led his team to a championship.
So when he was on the Golden State Warriors,
yeah.
Who was the best player on the Golden State Warriors when he was on there? Are you going to say
he was the look, D. He was the best player. He was the best player, but
who was the best player?
But he was playing on a great team.
I didn't ask that.
He didn't make that team great. That team was already a championship team before he got there.
Kobe and Shaq playing together, that wasn't a great team.
They weren't right, but they didn't win. But I'm saying they were a great team. Okay, but I'm saying
so. You just said 2 of the players
but they came up together. I mean, Kobe came after Shaq.
So now you're moving it. You're moving the goalposts.
No.
They came up together. They was in the same.
But they didn't join forces like KD. KD joined as a free agent.
What does that have to do with anything? What does that?
It means a lot because great players don't join with superstar teams that have already championships and 73 win teams.
So I'm trying to figure this out. Okay. I thought Shaq came from Orlando. But maybe he was drafted by the Lakers.
But there wasn't any great players. They had Van Exel. They had Eddie Jones when he got there. They had Eldon Campbell. That wasn't a great team when he went to L.A. They weren't a great team.
Okay, so my question is, you just said they came up together, then they were drafted, but he wasn't drafted by the Lakers. He came from Orlando.
They didn't win until they – but my point is, did Kobe – okay, let me ask you something. Did Shaq win championships before Kobe got there? No, right. Okay, right. And Shaq. So
both of them.
So after Kobe gets there, they trade him for Divox on draft night. He comes there. They still was under Del Harris. They were a playoff team, but they weren't a great team. They couldn't get over the hump. San Antonio kept bumping them. So what happens? Phil comes in now in his first season. He takes them to the championship and they win. They elevate. But I'm saying they did that together. In other words,
a matter of coaching?
They kept losing together, but they were losing together. And then they finally was learning how to win when Phil Jackson got there. That's not the same situation with KD and Golden State. Golden State was a championship team already, a 73-win team already, and then KD decides to join a team already that made them even better than what they were. Shaq didn't join a great Lakers team. And neither did and when Kobe got there, nobody knew what Kobe was going to be. He was a high school kid, right? So there was no expectations for him to be great other than Kobe, who had in his own mind.
How many players in the history of NBA are drafted straight out of high school?
But Jermaine O'Neal was a good player, but he didn't turn out to be Kobe.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of players that came out of high school.
That's not what I asked. Jermaine O'Neal was a dominant player.
He was.
Jermaine O'Neal.
Yeah, he was.
So when you think probably, I don't know how many NBA players, 1,500, maybe 1,500 NBA players.
Right.
My question is, how many are drafted? How many great players? How many Hall of Fame players in the history
of the
NBA?
Point then? Are you implying that because he got drafted out of high school, he was expected the level of pressure that was on him to succeed to play alongside Shaq, although Jerry West envisioned that. But I mean, was that the prevailing thought and theory and expectation of everybody in the league that when Kobe came out of high school,
how many high school players are drafted straight to the NBA is the question.
Not many.
Okay, no. So there had to be something, or did they they liked his fro?
Yeah, but D, come on, be honest. But nobody outside of LeBron James, okay, even Kevin Garnett didn't have that level of pressure when he came up out of high school. Nobody expected Kobe to be Kobe the way he turned out to be Kobe coming out of high school.
I will tell you this. This is my opinion. Every player that is drafted out of high school, there is a high expectation. This is not 1 year of college, one and done. You're drafted out of high school, right?
Right.
And you're expected to play with grown professional men.
But he wasn't a starter, though. Kobe didn't start.
It does not matter.
Right, but I'm saying, but there's a difference between the expectation. If LeBron came out starting right out of high school,
okay.
Kobe he was still sharing time with Eddie Jones. He was still a backup to Eddie Jones until they finally was able to move Eddie Jones on because they wanted to elevate Kobe. But Kobe didn't play well as a rookie. He didn't play. He morphed into becoming a better shots, player. Right. Yeah. Right, he did. That's all. And he was erratic. He was until Phil had to corral him in and finally get him to play into a team concept. But he didn't have the expectations of LeBron. I understand what you're saying. Yes,
I'm not comparing him to LeBron. I'm comparing him to everyone that is drafted out of high school. I'm not comparing him to LeBron.
That makes you good. That makes you a very special player to get drafted out of high school. Yes, the expectations.
Everybody's not. The NBA drafts are not going to everyone's high school and saying we want to scout you. That's not happening. So if you can think of all of the players who were ever drafted out of high school.
Right.
They are special players. Now, there are levels to it, right? Everyone's not going to have the longevity and the career that LeBron's had, or Kobe, or Kevin Garnett, or, who else? Darryl Dawkins, right? I think he was out of high school, right?
He was out of high school, yeah.
There are levels to it, but there had to be something that they saw.
Okay, but what's your point in that? Okay, so they saw something in Kobe. So are you trying to say that they saw something in Kobe coming out of high school, okay? But that still does not mean that he did what KD did. In other words, the point I was making was that Kobe comes out of high school. Okay, Grant, I'll take your point. He was expected to be the next Michael Jordan, okay? Or he's that special where we felt he was going to be a piece, which was, in theory, that was the case when Jerry West.
The greatness wasn't a surprise, right? It could have been a diamond in the rough, but the fact is, that they wanted to capture that diamond out of high school.
Okay, so
they didn't wait it to go to college.
So that's my point.
Okay,
so you're making my point. So Shaq and Kobe were great. Duncan was great. Jordan was great. LeBron is great, right? We're looking at recent the history of the league from the modern era. Okay, and you can add in the 80s. You had Isaiah. You had Magic Johnson. You had Larry Bird. Those guys were greats. They were leaders. They were the best players on their team. They came up in the system with their teams.
What is the standard? I'm trying to figure
out.
But
Kevin Durant didn't do that. He joined a great team, so he can't be great.
Is it the greatest player on their team or the greatest leader on their team that makes them a great player? You're changing.
It's both.
Okay.
It's both.
All
it's both. You got to be a great, consistent. Was Larry Bird not the leader of his team?
Was Shaquille a great leader? Why are your eyes going on? Was he a great leader? Yes,
he was.
No, he wasn't. He was not.
You're not going to say Shaq. You're not going to say Shaq.
He was a great player, and I'm not saying that Shaq was not great. But my point is if you're a dominant player and a great player, you don't have to be a great leader. Shaquille O'Neal every year had to play himself back into shape. That is not leadership.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But that's an anomaly. That's an anomaly.
Oh, so it's
an anomaly. Think about all the great players. Again, LeBron, Michael.
Are there
Kobe,
different types of leaders?
Isaiah.
Are they? We have to.
Magic.
Okay, so leaders are not leaders. Oh, we leaders. We listen. So
one day, America, we might share a little bit of that.
Once we talked about all these leaders, right?
Right.
There are different types of leadership, right? There are leaders that are vocal leaders that are able to galvanize a team to be the driving force to a team's success. But then there's also leadership in work ethic. First in, last out.
I agree with that.
They're regardless, they're holding themselves accountable, even though they're the best player. They're still putting in the time. That is a form of leadership too.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Just because people aren't punching.
So was Golden State not going to be a great team if KD didn't lead them?
I don't think
in
that
some
they
kind of way, whatever leadership model you subscribe to.
All right, so
was Golden State not going to be great because of whatever KD didn't bring as a leader to that team?
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that they wouldn't have beaten Cleveland in the next 2 championships. I think Cleveland had their number, and some teams just have they may not match up with certain
okay,
teams.
but you're talking about Golden State as a team prevailing over another team, but we're talking about KD as a player. KD went to a team
and became the best player on that team,
but he went to a great team already. Was they not already a really great or good to great team that won a finals and eclipsed
so let's break this down.
Wins in a season
based off of your analogy,
right?
And your definition of what a great team is.
A great player. Excuse me.
Right. Is Clay a great player?
No, he's not a great player.
Is Draymond Green a great player?
No, he's not a great player.
Is Steph Curry a great player?
He's in between.
No, I need yes or no. Is it great player? Yes or no? Either he's great or he's not.
I can't judge him until after his career is over, but I would say he's in between. I think he's closer to great than he is a superstar because he did win 2 chips without KD.
We're not talking about KD anymore. We're talking about great players.
Yeah, great players. But I'm giving my reason as to why I feel he's
you're
not
trying to figure out where I'm going with this. No,
I'm saying. But no, I think
was
Steph
Barnes.
I still think Steph is a superstar.
Matt Barnes.
Steph is a superstar.
Is it Matt Barnes?
Matt Barnes was on that team. He was on the first championship team they won.
Right. Is he a great player?
No, he's not. Not at all.
So I'm trying to figure out. So KD went to a team. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He went to a great team or with no great players, according to you.
He went to a team that has superstars already.
Shaq
didn't go to a team that had superstars. To answer your question, KD went to a team that had 2 superstars, not great players. They were superstars. But you can't be great joining with other superstars because you're the better talent out of all of them, and then all of a sudden stand apart and say, I'm part of the greatest players to play the game. No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do it. So Magic came to a Laker team that he was drafted into, right? He couldn't help where he was drafted, but the Lakers were a good team. They had already won a chip before Magic got there.
But
you had Kareem.
Was Magic a great player?
You had Bob McAdoo. Yeah, I do believe he's a great player because I don't think that team would have perpetuated into the level of dynasty or the dynastic success that they had in the 80s without Magic Johnson. There's no question about it. And he was a leader, as we know.
So would Golden State have won? But forget their regular season record. We don't care about regular season.
They won a championship before KD got there.
Okay. Somebody told me that the regular season doesn't matter. And they further went on to say that the regular season, it doesn't even matter till after the All-Star game, right?
Well, team-wise, but we're talking about KD. Is KD, if you ask me, is KD a great player? I go on record to say KD is a superstar. I don't think he's great because great players do what Magic, Michael, LeBron, Duncan, and Kobe have done. And even Shaq, I will say. Kobe,
so let's just go into this real quick.
Uh-huh.
So LeBron is a great player because he did what? I'm just
okay.
What did he do?
Finals. He won a chip in every city he gone to. Took a bad Cleveland team, okay? A bad Cleveland team in his first trip to the finals, all right? Where you had hardly nobody. Your only all-star play was Mo Williams, okay? Give me a break.
Did they win?
No, they lost, but he took his team to the finals.
Okay, so in the weak East, okay, got it. And then what did he do when he first won his first championship? Where was he? And who were his teammates? Who were his teammates?
He had D Wade and Chris Bosh. Two superstars. Two superstars.
Okay.
Yeah, they were superstars.
Sounds
I don't think
similar.
Wade is a great. Wade is not great. He's a superstar.
Is he top 75?
Who? Oh yeah, he is. He is.
Okay.
I mean, top 75 player. Yeah.
Well, everybody's top 75.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Look, you look at the Hall of Fame in the NBA. There's a lot of guys who are Hall of Famers in the NBA that shouldn't be there. They let anybody into the Hall of Fame.
So you're saying Wade shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame?
No, Wade should be in the Hall of Fame. But I'm saying,
Okay.
but it loses something when you just let a lot of other guys go into the Hall of Fame.
So we're not talking about other guys. See, you're trying to mix and throw
just trying to
other
say,
people in.
I see your argument. Here's what you're going, because I see where you're slick at. Here's what you're going.
No, that's slick.
LeBron did the same thing that KD did when he joined forces in Miami, right? A Miami team that did win with D Wade a couple years earlier, right, when they beat Miami. Okay, so
before LeBron got there, right?
Shaq was there though. It was Shaq who was still somewhat in his prime, though. After that, he started to decline, but he was still a major force. Okay, with him and Wade there in Miami, they won a chip.
Alonzo Mourning, they had a good team.
Alonzo. Yeah, he was a bench player by that time. Alonzo was at the back end of his career. Gary Payton, those guys were on the back end of their career. But it was really Shaq and Wade, right? And Wade wins the MVP. They lose. They had a bad season. Shaq is faded. He moves on. I think he goes to Boston or whatever it was after that. So here we go. You got a Miami team that wasn't good. They blow up the team. They bring in Bosh. They bring in LeBron as free agents, right? They sign with D Wade. Okay, I get your point there. Okay, they combine their forces and they still win. They went to 4 finals and they won 2, 4 straight. But then LeBron career still ascends, where he takes a Cleveland team, still the best player on that team, takes them to 4 straight finals in a row. All right, and he wins a chip there, and then he wins in LA. So I'm saying, like, KD is not doing that unless he wins in Phoenix. He's not doing that.
So
their paths are completely different as far as I'm concerned.
I'm not comparing paths. What I'm comparing is LeBron has always had a superstar on his team.
But who hasn't? All right,
so that's my point. So what do we
have?
So
no, but they were organically put together.
It doesn't matter. It wasn't organic. It wasn't organic.
Not in Miami. Okay, Miami was not an organic situation.
Not in LA. LA wasn't organic. So those are 2.
Okay, it wasn't organic in LA. No, you're right.
Right, and he shipped everyone out to get AD, right? He almost pouted that if I don't get AD, it's AD or bust. Remember that?
Yeah, I agree.
You're right. So do we forget? Like, I'm not taking away from LeBron's greatness, but I'm not going to now change what I feel a great. This is my whole point.
So what's your? Let me tell me your version of a great player. What's your?
My point is that Kevin Durant is a great player.
Okay.
Kyrie Irving is a great player. LeBron James is a great player.
Great player. Okay. Based on what? What's your definition of great?
Okay. Name a point guard or
you think he's better than Isaiah Thomas?
No.
So if he's not better than Isaiah, okay, he's not better than Isaiah
Thomas. But did he play with Isaiah Thomas? Who's better than him now?
It doesn't matter. I'm just saying.
I didn't say the greatest. I didn't say the greatest. He's a great.
Okay, that's fair.
Is Shaq the best center ever?
I agree. Okay.
You see, you trying
I'm just saying. What is your definition of great? But you still answer that question. What's the definition of great?
So let me answer.
Okay.
When they go on a team, they are a contributing factor, and any
great players contribute, or they are the team that others contribute. People contribute to them.
A contributing factor to winning. Kevin Durant, because I will say this: Kyrie is not he's not always been the greatest player on his team. That's why the contributing factor, but he is
how is he great then if he wasn't the greatest player on his team? If he wasn't always the greatest player, when was Michael Jordan not the best player on his team?
Never.
or even Magic or LeBron? When were they not the best player on their team? Or Tim Duncan? Or Kobe? Or well, I would say Kobe Bryant. When he played with Shaq, he wasn't the greatest player at that time.
Okay, so all right.
Well, when is a great? You say a great player. You said Kyrie's a great player.
I think
but yet you also said he wasn't always the greatest player on his team. So how was he a great player then? If he never was if he wasn't consistently the greatest player on his team.
So let's just go by this, because this is what I'm because you're trying to mix and twist stuff.
I'm trying to understand
who is better at the position currently. Don't bring up Isaiah. Don't bring up anybody else. Don't bring up Pistol Pete. Who's better than Kyrie right now
at the point guard position?
Yeah,
I would honestly say
point or shooting guard.
Oh, well, he's a shooting guard. My bad. Right.
Who's better than him?
Nobody? I think Kyrie, hands down, is the best shooting guard in the league.
So he's not a great player, though.
No, because I think a great. I'm talking about their body. I'm talking about what they've accomplished in their career and what they will potentially accomplish based on what we've seen already, or based on what they've already done.
Was Karl Malone great?
Yes, Karl Malone is great. Yes,
so when you say accomplished in his career, he doesn't have any rings. Is John Stockton great?
But doesn't mean he's not good. You don't have to win a ring to be great.
Okay, so cool. All right. So I just wanted to make sure that wasn't what you were basing it on.
No, I'm not basing it on rings. No, I'm not basing it on rings. No.
Kyrie Irving is the play, and you say right now there's nobody better than him in the position
as a shooting guard. Well, let me say this. Dame Lillard could make an argument to be just as good as Kyrie. Could he not? Is Dame Lillard not as good as Kyrie, perhaps? Is he not a scorer like Kyrie? Kyrie is more artistic. He razzles, he dazzles. But, I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at numbers, you look at pretty much, what those guys give to their team night in and night out. Could you not say he's better? Is a healthy Bradley Beal any less a player than Kyrie in terms of numbers?
Come on.
We
haven't seen. Okay, I want to see Dame Lillard play with another superstar or a great player. He hasn't. He's the only show in town, right?
Right.
And so maybe that's by design, maybe because no one wants to go to Portland, but he's the only show in town.
And still puts up good numbers. Can Kyrie put up good numbers just playing by himself without another superstar?
I think so. Absolutely.
You think so? Okay.
I think so. Okay, so if we say that he's the best player.
He was trash before LeBron got there. He played 3 years by himself.
Okay, how old was he? Was he 17 years old?
Now all of a sudden, because he was only 10. I'm saying he was still a good player at that time.
I thought you said that Kobe Bryant came in and he wasn't good starting off. Although Kyrie did go to college. I mean, Kyrie went to Duke. But this is my point.
I think he was one and done, but go ahead. Yeah.
Kevin Durant's position, right?
Right.
Whether it's power forward or we're not going to consider him a center. No. Who's better at that position than he is right now?
KD. Nobody's better than KD.
But he's not a great player. Listen, man, you're losing the argument by the second.
No. Just because great player.
And you missed it. They're actually someone that I think is better than him. I think is more dominant than him, but you didn't say it. But I would say I would think Giannis. I think Giannis in the same position.
I don't think Giannis is better than KD.
He's not better than, but I will say this: he is just as dominant. So, by your definition, Giannis is not a great player.
Giannis is a great player to me. Right now, he's a great player to me. I believe he is. Yeah, I agree. He has a chip. He's a leader. Well, I'm saying he has a chip. He's a leader. He's very, very and he's clearly the best player on his team. And Giannis definitely ain't doing no punk move like KD. He ain't joining forces with anybody. You know what I'm saying? Listen, D.
All right,
okay,
all right, listen.
Let me ask. Okay. Before we close on this, let me ask you a question. All right, because I see you move by KD's tears. I'm saying
no. I'm not. No. I'm not moved.
We failed in Brooklyn.
I'm not moved by that.
Moved by his. Listen,
I'm not moved by that.
But let me ask you a question, though, D. You don't have any problem with what KD did when he went to Golden State. Do you think in any way, shape, or form there's any form of blemish on his career for doing that? Aside, and I want you to think it through. We know. Listen, I want to make it very unequivocal. I'm not arguing KD's skill, his talent. He's one of the great players to ever play the game in terms of just the basketball. Basketball.
No, he's not.
No, playing basketball. I'm just saying playing basketball.
You said one of the great players.
As far as
superstar players. Don't say great.
As far as a player, No, okay, look.
See,
let me rephrase it. As far as KD being an awesome basketball player, you got no argument for me. But as far as his legacy and being compared to many greats that have led their teams and have been the best player on their team, do you feel that there is any blemish on KD's move to have joined a Golden State team?
I personally don't. And this is the reason why. I think if he had come on to the team and he was just there and he was a beneficiary of them playing well and he wasn't the reason why they won, then there would be an argument for that. But KD was the reason they won the championship. I don't care. 73-9 means nothing. After they beat 72 and 10, and of course the Bulls had that record. Jordan didn't care because at the end of the day, the 72 and 10, what did they do? They won a championship, right?
Right.
So the 73-9 record, everyone makes a big deal, and it's a great accomplishment.
Okay,
but it didn't net anything.
No, but let me ask you this: you say that when KD goes to Golden State, he's the reason why they win, right? Is that what you're saying? Did he
play better than Steph Curry?
Huh?
Did he play better than Steph Curry?
He did. He absolutely did.
Better than Klay Thompson?
Yeah, that's why he won both MVPs. Yes, he did.
Okay. Did he play better?
But let me ask you something. Do you think he wins that championship though? Okay, if he's not on that team, do you think KD has any championships to his name right now if he did not go to the Warriors to play and win those chips? While he was the best player in the finals, he won the 2 MVP finals. He got 2 chips. Like you said, they only win because KD takes them over the hump with Cleveland, right? But the same argument could be made that he does not have any chips to this day if he doesn't go to that team. He wins because he goes to an already established team.
So who's to say that? Well, time will tell. We'll see what happens.
And that's why we don't know if he's great, because time hasn't told us anything yet. KD is still playing. The only thing we can say is that, yes, he won 2 chips and he won the 2 MVP finals, but he won it with a team that had he not gone to, he would be 0. He would have no chips right now. KD would have 0, 0, 0 if he did not go to the Golden State Warriors.
Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. If LeBron never went to Miami, are we sure that he would? Because we're going based off of the bubble championship and then going back to Cleveland, right? But if he didn't learn how to win in Miami, are we sure that LeBron would have championships? There are great players that have 0 rings, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There are.
Is Patrick Ewing a great player? Or
I believe yes, he is. Patrick Ewing's a great player.
He's a great player.
Yeah, I believe he's a great player.
Okay, how many rings does he have?
He has no rings.
Karl Malone, we already said, has 0 rings. John Stockton has.
Let me hold on. Let me say this.
You got to reevaluate what you say as a great player.
No,
and I'm giving you that time. I'm going to give you that space to do that because it doesn't make sense what you're saying. So
I'm saying it does. It does. Because I don't necessarily think, I think having a chip, yes, that makes you a great, having a chip helps, but I don't think you need to, I think Barkley, Malone, Patrick Ewing, I do think they were great players. They just didn't win a chip, but they were great players. They went to their team to a finals. They battled, right?
So did
KD
take his team to a final?
Who?
Kevin Durant.
Yes, he did.
I'm not talking about Golden State.
No, he took OKC to a final. He did.
Okay, and was he the best player on that team?
Yes, he was.
Oh, so by your definition, you don't need a ring. You need to be the best player on your team that leads them to. It took us 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 43 seconds to come to this same conclusion. Kevin Durant is a great player, and this wasn't supposed to be the show topic. But I had to take the time necessary.
No, because you're getting all in your feelings about KD's his little.
I'm not in my feelings about that.
And you have a nostalgic moment there. He took accountability. Oh, I miss you, KD. I wish you success. Win one for if you win. If you win in Phoenix, in my heart, it's like we won in Brooklyn.
No. It's if he wins in Phoenix, he won in Phoenix. That's it's.
I know. I'm gonna tell you why they're great. I'm gonna tell you why Patrick Ewing,
Exactly.
and Malone and Barkley are great players, and KD is not, because they didn't settle. Although Barkley toward the latter part of his career, right? But I mean, I know we could debate on that, because I know we had debate on that. But those guys stayed with their teams. They didn't partner. Could Ewing have won a championship if he's found a way somehow to get to Chicago? Right? He could have, right? But he didn't do that. If Malone somehow wanted to get to Chicago, he could have. Or he could have banned forces.
He went to Miami, though.
Who? Karl Malone?
I mean, he went to LA, excuse me.
Yeah, at the end of his career, though.
It doesn't matter. He did
But
it.
at that point, he was trying to just win a chip. And listen, Malone would have been fine with to say, I rode the bus, okay? And listen,
he did it.
Kobe and Shaq's team. So if they would have won, they were trying to win a chip for him and Gary Payton. And Gary Payton and Karl Malone was fine with that, because they did all they can do. They tried their best to prevail, and they couldn't. Jordan shut them down. So look, we'll grab these young guys and see if they can help us win a chip. They couldn't. Payton did end up with Gary Payton. I mean, with Gary Payton won with Shaq and Wade in Miami. But what I'm saying is the difference in their greatness and KD's greatness is that KD went to a team that he would not have ever won a championship had he not gone to that team. If KD went anywhere else in free agency that was not as great as a team as Golden State was at that time, or as legit and good as a team as they were at that time, do you think he would have won a final somewhere else if he'd have joined a different team? I don't think he would have.
We don't know that for sure.
We don't know that. We don't know that, but we do know he
was the
best team in the league at that time.
We don't know, statistically, right? Record-wise, yes.
Record-wise, and they won a chip already. They already had two back-to-back.
They were just coming off of a loss. They had just lost to Cleveland,
two final
right?
appearances though at that time. They won one and they lost one.
Okay,
right.
Got it.
So and so I'm saying, but so they were they not the best team in the league at the time when KD went to them?
Record-wise, yes. But they just came off of an NBA championship loss. So
but the year before that, but they were defending their title in that same year, though. They were defending their title.
Calendar year, yeah.
You know what?
You want to try to change stuff and then want to try to get me to no.
This is why. No, what we're gonna do? Listen. No, we're gonna do deep. This is why we're gonna get some guests. We're gonna get a third party in here, so we could get another objective. And
it's gonna be somebody that you.
Listen. I want you. Listen. I
try to ambush me.
Bring in a Brooklyn Nets person that agrees with you.
We're not talking about Brooklyn Nets. He is not on the Nets anymore, so I'm not defending him. I'm just defending your phraseology of saying great players, superstar, good and player, and star,
good,
and marginal,
superstar, and he said marginal. Well, listen, there are levels to that, right? I mean, that's what it is.
I will say this: every player in the NBA, and see, this is my feeling on this.
Okay,
every player in the NBA is good. Okay, because if not, there's only 1,500 of them in the NBA. So every player is good. We look at him and be like, yo, that dude's a scrub. He comes to
I agree with that.
The Y and will eat anybody up.
He would definitely. That and to make it to the NBA, you got to be good, right?
So everybody is good, all right.
What's a star? What's a star? Do you believe in that categorization of great superstar star? Like
not the way you have.
So how do you distinguish who's great and who's a superstar or whatever? How do you distinguish players?
So there is no category for good. Everyone's good that made it to the NBA.
Okay,
so,
all right,
so I'll throw that out.
I like that. Okay.
So then we have great superstar. I would say
you think a superstar is better than great.
Yeah. Actually, I do. So I would say a great player is. Let me see who I think a great player is, because I think a superstar is greater because, in my opinion, because it embodies other stuff. It's not only the play, it's the marketability. It's if people are talking about you, if you're elevating your team, if you're the best player on that team. So I think someone who, I'll give you an example. I think that if Zion was healthy, and he was in the right market, he would be a superstar.
Now, according to my definition, I agree with you. But a superstar, in my definition, is a player that is it's short-lived. In other words, it's for a moment of where they're shining. Great, when you talk about the GOAT, greatest of all time. Great, to me, embodies a career. Zion, to your point, with that condition, he would be a superstar because a superstar shines in that moment. You know what I'm trying to say?
This whole time I thought great was Great. And now you're trying to say
no, but when you talk about great, right?
No, we're not talking about
but
GOAT.
I'm trying to give you the definition of great, because you think in your definition, right? Superstar is greater than great. I think a great is higher than a superstar because great embodies a career, right? That embodies a career.
So you have to be a
superstar is a moment.
So has there ever been a superstar that was not great? Are you talking about like Linsanity? He was great. No, I'm talking about you have to go through those, and through the course of your career.
Vince Carter, in my mind, was a superstar. Tracy
McGrady
was a superstar. No, they were not great. They were not great. They were not great. They were superstars for whatever 5, 6, 7 years, a time span in their career. They were superstar players. But they couldn't get their team over the hump. Their first round knockouts. You
just said championships don't matter. Is what you
said?
No,
for superstar, for a superstar, that's why you're a superstar, because you were among a lot of other players that was well known. They had the endorsements. They had the big contracts. They may have been the best player on their team, but they couldn't prevail. They didn't elevate their team into championships. Tim Duncan was in the finals regularly. Jordan, LeBron, regularly. Kobe, Shaq, Magic, Isaiah, regularly. Bird. These guys were constantly in championships. And that's how, for the most of them, when you talk about their careers, you instantly equate that. Even the Karl Malone, they did get the 2 finals. You know what I'm saying? And he was the third time. He was the second, in fact, behind Kareem in points before Kobe broke his record. So I'm saying, I think you when you look at a body of work and being at least associated with a finals appearance, or being you elevated your team and you dominated for a long period of your career, being that guy that other players had to beat. That's great. A superstar. No, I mean Vince Carter wasn't standing in the way of nobody. Who was he? He wasn't standing in the way of nobody.
So I'm trying to figure this out. Based on your definition, your new definition that you just came up with 15 seconds ago, Kevin Durant doesn't fit that bill.
No, he does not, because he went to a team.
It is totally obvious. It is totally obvious that there is some. I don't know.
He just doesn't meet that criteria. He went to a team that he would never won a championship had he not gone to, and that's almost a fact. He went to the best team in the league at that time. At least when Miami built their big three, that team wasn't good, huh?
They weren't the best team in the league.
Who was better than them, other than Cleveland? But they still weren't.
The Cavaliers,
right? But the Cavaliers, right? But okay, all right. He wasn't going to be able to go to Cleveland, right? He wasn't going to be able to go to Cleveland. So he went to Golden State, right? So going to in your mind, the second best team in the league. You still don't think that was an advantage to his career to win? You don't think he deliberately positioned himself to take an easy road to win a championship?
He made a business decision. Oh, God. And when he was a free agent, he had the opportunity to go to any team. Including
his own. He could have re-signed with OKC if he wanted to.
No, we cannot play with Westbrook. You understand that. That's why LeBron shipped him out.
I often say he could have gotten Westbrook out of there if he wanted to. He could have had the cachet to do that. He could have gotten Westbrook out of there if he wanted to. You don't think he could have done that and said, "This is my team. I'm not going anywhere. Let's move him, and I'll bring in another star with me." You don't think that could have happened?
I don't know. It didn't happen. Is all I can go by.
He wanted to ride. He wanted to ride the bus. He wanted to say, "Look, I'm gonna ride the bus."
You know what? Guys. I think he says that because he
remember those big steering wheels, the bus in the New York City.
Yo, listen.
That's what he did.
Listen,
I know.
This show is over, man.
This
show is over. I can't believe. Okay, I'm gonna just ask this question, and I'm not trying to back you into a corner. Name the top 3 players. Name the top 5 players in the NBA now.
Right now?
In order, yeah.
Oh boy, I can give you my top 5, but I don't have time to dissect the order. But I can give you the top 5. I can't tell you
so give me the top 5.
I'll tell you my top 5 players right now in the league. It would be, and this is no particular order, but my top 5. It would be KD.
All right, show's over. Thank you for joining us.
I said no particular order.
It's over.
I said no particular order.
It's over. How many teams? How many teams are in the league? How many teams are in the league?
I'm gonna name you superstars in that top 5 too, though. I'm gonna name you superstars.
How many teams are in the league?
You said the top 5 players in the league. You didn't say top 5 great. You didn't say top 5 superstars. You said the top 5 players in the league. Now, the top 5 players in the league, right? These are not guys who I would consider to be overall
ridiculous.
Great. These are superstars. I'll give you Doncic. I'll give you Giannis. Okay,
hold your list for a second.
Cleveland, this is for you.
D, naming KD in the top 5 of players right now don't mean he's great.
Okay,
because he has a blemish on his record by joining Golden State.
According to you,
according to me, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that has to be the prevailing theory amongst pundits and fans, but there are a lot of people that agree with me though.
So what is the likelihood that the best player, whether it's top 3, the first person that came off your lips?
I've been saying his name the last 35 minutes. So I mean, it was easy to just say KD. We've been mentioning his name for the last hour. So I said KD. The 5 best players in the league right now. Now the best is different. It's temporary. Best is temporary. Best is in now. It's in the moment now.
So are there 5 greats? So let me know. Are there 5 greats? Great. All right. So I'm asking you now. Are there 5 greats? Name the 5 great players currently playing in the NBA now. No particular order. I'm trying to take all the pressure off of you.
Okay. I don't think you can't name 5. There's only 2 great players right now. There's 3. I would say 3 great players in the NBA right now, and that would be LeBron, Steph, and Giannis. That's it.
Oh my goodness.
LeBron, Steph, and Giannis.
All right, so
they're great. You said great. The 5 best players, you put KD in there. Okay. But great, KD is not great. I don't care. He's not great.
Okay.
He's not great.
And Steph is great. Why? I'm just trying to.
Because Steph is the centerpiece of that Golden State team. And without Steph Curry, KD does not win. Because I don't care how bad Steph played. He was still a threat to be looked at. If KD had to play by himself without Clay and Steph, he is not winning that Finals MVP. You
said without Clay and Steph.
I mean, that's right. Without Clay and Steph, he doesn't win. Listen, how much pressure is it on KD to play with 2 great players, 2 very good players superstar players like because you get me, you trying to take them out.
Yeah, it's over, ladies and gentlemen.
So you don't think KD got it easy though, D, with playing with Steph and Clay? The pressure that
you said Steph. So you said Steph is a great player. So you said there's only
2
3
superstars already. That made
is he a superstar or is he great?
Who's a superstar on Milwaukee right now? And Giannis still balls out, and they could not stop him, and he still won a finals. Drew Holiday and Middleton are not in the same category as Steph and Klay Thompson when KD was playing with them. No way at all. You still had to zero in on Giannis, and Giannis still prevailed, even with him being, such a big gap between him and Middleton and Drew Holiday. Those are nice pieces. They contribute. They're all-star players. But come on, D. All KD had to do was shoot the ball. Just play ball. That's all he had to do, because you still had to zero in on Steph.
His job was easy.
His job was easy. Yes, it was easy. You don't think his job was easy in Golden State? D, come on. D, there's no way.
If it was that easy, why couldn't someone else do it? Anybody. So you're saying Kevin Durant is a plug and play. You in that
when he's playing with Steph and Clay, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yes, he's a plug and play, no question about it. And they would have beaten Toronto they would have wiped Toronto off the floor if Clay and KD were not hurt. They would have wiped them off the floor easily.
Why did they need KD? Steph wasn't hurt.
Well, Steph couldn't beat them by himself. How was Steph going to beat Toronto?
He's great. That's why. He's great.
Right, but every great player still has another superstar with them. Every great player still has another superstar with them. But those superstars that were with them came up together in that system.
I don't care about coming up together in the system.
These guys, Tony Parker and Duncan and Ginobili, these guys came up in a system. They didn't arbitrarily say, hey, I'm going to join a 7-3 win team and a team that also won the finals, a team that just came out the finals, a team that just went 2 back-to-back finals appearances, winning one. I'm going to join that team, and then I'm just going to go ahead and all I got to do is just shoot the ball.
You don't like what he did, and you're allowing that to cloud what he has done and his skill level and what he does.
What would he have done, D?
Well,
what would he have done if he didn't join Golden State?
I'm going to tell you what he did, not what he would have done. He went to the team and was the best player on the team. Was he not?
Skill-wise, overall basketball, he was the best basketball player on the team. He was the best basketball player on that team.
What are they playing? What are they playing?
No.
He was the best counselor on that team. What?
You hear that, nutso? The boy here says he owes me. He owes me.
What are we talking about? He is the best basketball player on the team.
But he win? But so he was the best basketball player in OKC. Did he win there?
Yes, he was. Everywhere he goes, he's the best player.
So was he able to win there? He was the best player in Golden State, and he was the best player in OKC. Who did he win with, though, between those two teams, being the best basketball player on both those teams? Who did he win with?
He won with the Warriors.
Why? Why did he win with the Warriors and not OKC?
Westbrook.
So it's not because he played with Steph and Curry and Draymond.
No, certainly that helped. But he was the best player on the team.
They went to a finals, OKC, did they not? And they was up 3-1 against Golden State in the conference finals.
They did.
Before he decided to join the team that beat him. So I'm saying, why couldn't he just take them over the hump? They was right there. He couldn't do a little bit more to get his team over the hump. I mean, Westbrook could have been all that bad. I mean, he's bad to play with. But, I mean, you did go to a finals with him. You did. You were up 3-1 against Golden State, and you lost. So I'm saying, what you couldn't tweak a little something to at least get your team back into the finals again? You went and joined a team like that? A juggernaut like that? Come on, D. That ruins his. He's not great. KD is a superstar. If he wins in Phoenix, then in my opinion, he will be great because now he is the team. Devin Booker is a star. He's not a superstar. He's a star.
So let me ask you, if LeBron went to a team where they had already won a championship and LeBron didn't win a championship at that time, are we sure that LeBron would have won if he didn't learn how to win playing in Miami, being under such a good coach, a good organization? Do you think that matters at all, or you think it was inevitable that LeBron would have won?
No, I think that's a cop-out. That's the whole theory of, well, they went somewhere where they was able to learn how to win and learn how to come into a winning culture, and Pat Riley helped LeBron out. And
he didn't help. He didn't help at all. Even though LeBron said the same thing.
But no, he did. No. What I'm saying, I'm not saying that there is no merit to it, but
just said it was a cop out.
But that still doesn't. It's still a cop out. No, it is. It is. And going to, I didn't agree with him taking his talents to Miami to team up with Bosh and Wade. And initially it was going to be Melo. But Melo went for the bag, of course, with New York. So he said, I want my money. So he missed out. But I don't agree with that move he did. I don't agree with that move. I did not agree with that move that LeBron did. But he did win 2 chips there, and then he went on. But what supersedes it, though, is that he went back to Cleveland, which I would have rather seen KD do. Go back after he finished his time at Golden State. He could have went back to OKC and said, you know what? I'm going to win y'all a chip now. I'm going to win y'all a chip. Because Westbrook was gone by then.
I'm trying to figure out who was on that team when LeBron came.
It didn't matter.
No,
they only had Kyrie, and it was a bad team. They were a horrible team. When that team was trash when LeBron went back there.
So when LeBron went back, there was no Kevin Love on that team?
No, he got Kevin Love traded. What they did is they took out what you had. What's his name? Who's with the Golden State right now? What's my man? Who won the who's playing real well for them? He was there last. Oh my God. Jesus, D, you know what I'm talking about. He's on Golden State right now, and he played well. Wiggins was their number 1 draft pick. Nick Wiggins came in there. He didn't want Wiggins. He felt Wiggins was too young. LeBron's like, I got to win now. They traded Wiggins to Minnesota. And then that's what he kind of fell into, fell into obscurity there for a while until Golden State resurrected his career. They traded him for Kevin Love. Kevin Love came in. So it was Kevin Love and Kyrie. And
okay, so what are we talking? All right, Kevin Love.
And right, what was so with KD could have done the same thing. He could have went back to OKC and got players to play with him.
I'm not asking you that. I'm saying,
what are you saying?
When he went back, you said that the team was terrible, but he orchestrated. What was Kevin Love's numbers in Minnesota? Kevin Love was a double-double machine. Do you remember?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
20 and 15 all the time. And the knock on Kevin Love was he couldn't get as good as he was. He wasn't good enough to get the team over the top. So according to you, he would just be a superstar, right?
They were a bad team. He was a star. He was a star.
Oh, he was a star. And Kyrie was what? A superstar or just a star?
He was a star. That's it. He was a star. That's all he was. He was a star, but he couldn't elevate that team. Cleveland was a bad team.
I didn't say elevate. I didn't say. You said only greats can elevate. Superstars
only greats can elevate.
Okay, so it doesn't matter that he came back. LeBron, after being under Dwayne Wade's tutelage, he became a great, is what you're saying. Because prior to that, LeBron couldn't have been great, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I would have to say that. Yes. To stay true to my definition,
we gotta get out of
LeBron didn't even. LeBron moved into great status when he went back to Cleveland. But now, when you look at the body of his career, you can clearly see though that LeBron was still a player, even though he went to Miami though, D. But you got to give him credit. He did take that team, Cleveland, which was a bad team. It was worse than what OKC was when KD was with them. That was a bad Cleveland team that he was able to take into the finals, was able to get past a good Detroit team that went to 2 finals in a row now.
OKC was in the West,
Phillips
was it not?
Say again?
OKC is in the West, is it not?
No, but I'm saying they were, but OKC was a better team.
What were the East teams? When LeBron was running through the East, what were the East teams?
When he was running with Miami and Cleveland, the second time with Cleveland?
Anytime with Cleveland. And anytime when
Detroit,
he was with Miami,
Detroit went to 2. Detroit was the team that was making noise when LeBron came into the league.
That's the only team you could say. That's the only team you could say in the East. I'm asking. So
it was
even
Detroit.
if it was okay,
you had your Nets was still a good team at that time because that's where Jason Kidd and Kerry Kittles and Van Horn and those guys, they were still a good team. You had some good teams in
there weren't any really good teams. The East was very weak in comparison to the West.
Okay, so that makes my point that LeBron was even so. Then now you only buttress my point even more. So one man was able to dominate a whole conference, which he technically did for just about 10 years. LeBron dominated a whole conference. Did he not?
Yeah, I guess.
So that's not great. Is that what? Just in that alone, right? Come on.
So
every team is not good because LeBron was there.
So how many? So how many times? He was with, before he left to go to Miami, he was with Cleveland originally, 8 years? 8 seasons? Right?
Let me see. I don't know. Is that true? Let me see.
I think so. Eight or 9 seasons, maybe.
Okay, so LeBron came in the league in 2003, and he played with Cleveland to 2009. So 6 seasons. 1,
6
2,
seasons.
3, 4, 5, 6. 6 seasons.
Okay, so 6 seasons, and he had no rings in the 6 seasons, right?
7 seasons, actually. 7.
7
seasons.
Okay,
right.
7 seasons. Then he goes to Miami. We know he wins 2 out of the 4 championships, right?
Right.
So, if he played 6 seasons and he didn't, so his first 6 seasons, he was just a superstar or great? Or was he good?
Well, see,
because he carried the team, he got them to a final.
Yeah.
Or did he got them to Eastern Conference final, right? Or a final?
At that time, I think LeBron was still a superstar. No, I don't think he was great at that time. No, not. He did not, to me, enter great status until he went back to Cleveland. That's when his career, because there's a trajectory with his career. KD has no trajectory. KD played in OKC, got them to a finals along with a pretty good young team with Westbrook and those guys, and he was young himself. He joins a team where he doesn't even have to. All he has to do is catch the ball and shoot. Nothing else. No pressure. No pressure to win. No pressure to carry that team on his shoulders. No pressure to overcome LeBron or anybody else, even in the Western Conference. No pressure at all. He then goes to Brooklyn. That's a debacle. Now he's in Phoenix. So we see all of this inconsistency and no real trajectory to KD's career. Well, at least with LeBron, you see trajectory. Took a young Cleveland team to the finals, couldn't win anymore, goes to Miami, learns how to win, as you say, goes to 4 straight finals.
That's what he said. I didn't say that.
Well, he did say that, but again, he learns how to win. He goes to 4 straight finals, 4 straight, okay, which is pretty impressive, though, albeit he's got Wade and he's got Bosh there.
And he won 50% of it.
He won 50% of those things, so maybe that team is not as great as all we would think, right? Because they probably should have won all 4, right? Not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. They only come away with 2.
That was his.
Right, that's him. That's his
nonsense.
Right, that was his nonsense.
Yeah, that was
right. But so what I'm saying is maybe that team that he put together was not as dominant as the team that KD went to in Golden State. So Golden State team was probably better of a team than that Miami team.
Not necessarily. That he played with. The team blew up before they got to 4 championships. So we don't know if they would have won 2 out of 4 also.
When did they? Right. They went to 4 straight finals, the Miami Heat, before they blew the team up.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So we're not saying that team is better, because you're assuming that the team with Kevin Durant would have gone to 4 and won all 4. We don't know if they didn't have the same fate.
They would have. D, you don't think that they would have beaten so when KD got there, right? He got there after they lost to LeBron the first time. Mm-hmm. Then they went 2 in a row against Cleveland after that, with KD there. And then they played Toronto. Mm-hmm. And you don't think they would have beaten Toronto if KD wasn't hurt? If KD didn't re-injure his Achilles in that game?
Why did they need?
And if Clay wasn't hurt, you don't think they would have beaten Toronto?
So why did they need KD? If you got a great player, there's only 3 great players.
He was still on the contract. He was still on the contract at the time.
I don't care about contracts. I'm asking you a question.
What's the question?
You said, do I think with KD, with the bus rider, that they couldn't beat Toronto? Why do you need him? He's a bus rider. You have a great player on your team.
No, the point I'm making is no, but what I'm saying is, but you can't just extrapolate KD out of that equation. He was already there. So I'm saying he was already there on that team. So I'm saying it's not about pulling him out and saying, well, let's see if we can beat Toronto. KD, you just sit down. No, I'm saying Clay was hurt, but remember, Clay didn't play in that series. I mean, Clay got hurt in that series. He got
injured in this series,
right?
Yes.
He got played. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, look, Toronto was a really good defensive team, right? And they had Kawhi and so forth. And it was a really good defensive team. But I mean, if KD and Clay are completely healthy, like they were the first 2 finals that they won before playing Detroit, they would have.
They needed Steph, right? Or
yeah, they needed Steph.
So let me ask you a question. Now think about this. If KD was injured and he didn't play, do you think Steph Curry and Klay Thompson could have beaten Toronto? The answer is no. The answer is no.
Okay, I'll give you that. Okay,
you're not beating.
Right. So let me ask you this question. Okay, yes, you're right. I'll give you that. Yes, I don't think they would have been. No, I don't think so. No, probably. I don't know, but I would say probably not. Right, because KD made them so much more dominant.
Do you know how? Are we forgetting Kawhi Leonard? What he would be doing to them defensively and offensively?
Not to both those guys. He's going to play 2 guys at one time. You don't think Clay is a clear-cut marksman just as much as is Steph? He just don't have the range.
But if you neutralize one, right, and clearly he can neutralize his choice at that point. Yeah. he was in his prime. He wasn't. No question. Yeah. He wasn't sitting out and load managing to that degree. No. He would have been able to take one of them completely out of the game.
Yeah, he
and still put up 27, 28 points.
I agree. So you know what? No argument from me on there. But Kim, let me ask you this question. Has KD ever won without Steph and Clay?
He hasn't yet.
Has Steph and Clay won without KD?
They have.
America, we will be back
on Monday. But why you? Everything is a duel. Like
Because
being
it only goes to show you
Clay
how great of a team he joined and how much greater he made them, how much more superior he made them when he joined them. Let's just be honest. The league lopsided when KD went to Golden State. There was nobody had a chance to win. Who was going to beat that team, D? Even LeBron, with all of what he's able to do, there was no way he was going to beat that team.
So let me ask you a question. And we really need to wrap this up. He's in Phoenix now.
We just love sports.
There is no superstar on this team, right? I mean, there's superstars on the team, but no great players on Phoenix, right?
No, there isn't any great players. You have
DeAndre
a superstar
Ayton?
and you have a star. DeAndre Ayton is
just a guy, right?
He's more than a jag. He's a star. He's a star. He's a star.
He's a star. Devin Booker is a what?
Book to me is a star. I don't think he's a superstar.
Okay, and KD is a superstar.
Right now, yeah. Yeah, KD's a superstar. KD needs to win a chip to be great.
Okay, and so
superstar with 2 stars. That's what he got.
Okay, and so Golden State currently has
and a great play. Can I say this real quick before you say? I will say this though. I do think Chris Paul is a great player.
Chris Paul is 49 years old.
Doesn't matter. His career again, body of work.
I'm talking about now. Now he can.
Oh, right now? Right now he's a. Chris Paul is a. Chris Paul in my
players are we talking? When are we talking about them?
He's a superstar.
When he was in New Orleans, when he was,
he made everybody great. He took an OKC team and made them reputable.
We're talking about current teams. We're talking about current teams.
Okay, currently right now.
We're talking now. Steph is a great player now, right? He's only one of 3, according to you. Clay is a superstar, or is a star or a superstar?
Clay is a superstar. He's not
okay.
Great. He's a superstar.
So a great and a superstar should be able to beat a superstar and a couple of stars.
Should be.
Okay.
Should be.
Because that great player should elevate above stars and just
right. I think Golden State can.
Yeah,
I think Golden State could beat Phoenix. If they're healthy, if Steph is healthy and Clay is healthy, yes, they will. They will beat Phoenix. I think they will beat Phoenix.
They have.
I think they will.
0.0 chance on Earth
I don't know
of beating them. 0.0 chance.
I don't know.
And it doesn't matter if CP3 is injured or not. We really don't need CP3 to beat them.
Saying that, you think old Mushroom Head, who looks like one of the guys from the Fat Albert gang, you know what I'm saying, to say, "Oh, Mushroom, I can't stand him, son. He got his face is punchable. I want to grab by his mushroom head."
You talking about Cam?
I can't.
Campaign?
Campaign. Yeah. Oh, I can't. Oh my God, I can't stand old mushroom corner store face. Oh, on the corner store Ave face. I just want to punch him.
Let me get a
40 old English face. I want to punch him. Just like I'm gonna show you the dude. I'm gonna see a picture of the dude.
I know who you're talking about already.
The Fat Albert gang. That's him, son. The way his whole face. You look. Oh, I just want to punch him in his grill, son. You think you think you can win with him? I don't care with his little shot. He think he's so I can't. I hate that guy. I don't like him.
And we didn't listen, we didn't even get a chance to talk because of your slander. We didn't get a chance to even talk about
emotional. You was the one that was crying.
Oh my God.
You know, you witnessed my leader. Those are my leaders.
That's my quarterback.
That's my quarterback. Right. Exactly.
I think we just
all right, yeah. Next year, Monday.
We'll talk about D'Angelo Russell and the exit of Russell Westbrook. Yeah. And you got D'Angelo Russell. Yeah. And you got rid of Bryant, right? Bryant.
Yeah, I hated to see him to go, but we'll see. I didn't like Mo Bamba's debut. I didn't think he played well. He got to get used to. He's got to get into a rhythm there. But I love Beasley and I love Vanderbilt. Those guys are awesome. And I love the lineup that we have right now. Well, we'll get into it. We'll
talk about guys in 13th place still, though, right?
Yeah, we're still in 13th place. We won 2 of the 3 games since the trade. So
you got to win 16 of the next 24 to make the play-in.
Stay healthy. If we
to make the play-in.
Yeah, give us a play-in. We in. Give us a play-in. That's all I ask for. Give us a play-in. LeBron and the crew will get us in there. I'm not worried about that. That team will get us in there.
And then what? When you play Denver in the first, if you make it to the 8th seed and you play Denver in the first round,
hey, listen,
it's a sweep.
Them. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Listen, we beat Denver before in the bubble. We could beat them, and they had all their play. Well, they had all. Yes, they did. Murray was in the bubble.
He didn't get injured
out in that year, huh?
He didn't get injured in the bubble.
No, he got injured the following year. We smacked him in the bubble. No, he got injured. When did he get injured? He got injured after we beat them, and I think during the offseason, I don't know, something. But he was playing when we beat them. I don't care what you say. We was playing.
I remember him and LeBron were going 40 for 40. I think both of them, they had that big game where I think he dropped 45 and LeBron dropped 40 something also. I think that was in the bubble. I thought he got injured in the bubble, but listen, if he didn't, more power to you.
No, he got hurt in 2021. So February 2021, the following year, he got on February 19, 2021. That's when he injured himself. He suffered an ACL on April 12th of 2021, the year after. That's
you guys won 2020,
and we won 2020. We won in the bubble in 2020.
In the bubble.
That's
during
all right.
COVID.
We'll take it. It's still a ring. I don't care what nobody say.
Yeah,
KD's rings are cheap too. The cheap rings, your bus rider ring. They should have had a bus on his ring. That's what they should have put. All right, a yellow bus, and just have him like this. That's it. That's KD now. This is every time I mention KD, this is what I'm gonna be doing right here. You know what I'm saying?
That appears to be a driver, but listen, we got to go because I've been on the bus a ton of times.
No, that's all he did. He drove the bus for the players. He didn't. Is that what the bus driver? Unless I got the definition wrong. What's the definition of a bus rider? When Barkley said he's a bus rider.
A bus rider is someone that just gets on the bus and rides. Someone else is driving. A bus driver, on the other hand, is somebody that gets on and says, "My bad. I got bad," and they have the steering wheel.
So Steph,
we used to take public transit, right?
Steph, yes, we did.
We took.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever drive the bus?
No, I didn't drive the bus.
I had the definition. So he's a bus driver. You're right.
Well, you know what? And that even makes Charles Barkley even look more genius because you know why? What did KD do when he ride on a bus? What do we do when we got on a bus? We just relax and we just wait for our stop. And that's all KD did. He just sat on the bus and said, "Just let me know when you need me to shoot."
Next stop. Finals MVP. That was the next stop for him.
Yeah, because he had somebody driving the bus for him. That's why. He already had bus.
He was the best player. I don't know how they were driving the bus for him.
The best player don't mean that they driving. You know what I'm saying? Kareem arguably was still the best player on the Lakers, but they don't win without Magic. They don't win without Magic. When Magic first got there,
I get what you're saying. Steph Curry could be beloved, and he's the best player on the Warriors. They don't win without KD.
But he's won without KD, though. So they do win without KD because he's won 2 chips without KD. KD can't say it otherwise. That's why he's just a superstar. That's it. Superstar. But the win in Phoenix, bring a championship to Phoenix, then he's great. At least get 2 championships in Phoenix. He got to win at least 2 chips. Then I can say he's great.
Why does he have to win 2?
Because you have to make up for the 2 phony chips you got. And if you're going to be great, you should at least win. You should at least have to win more than 1 chip. Like Giannis. I think Giannis is going to get another chip before his career is over. He's on that trajectory.
But he's doing that to be a superstar, according to you. Or is he great?
Right now, Giannis
he wasn't mentioned in your own.
No, Giannis is great. I think Giannis is great. I think Giannis is great.
So you're adding to the list as we go on.
No, what did I say? You asked me who's the greatest players in the game today.
I said, who are the 3? You said there's only 3 greats. And who are your 3?
There's only 3 greats and still playing the game of basketball.
And who'd you say?
I said Giannis, LeBron, and Steph.
I don't think you said Giannis the first time.
I did say Giannis. Oh, I promise you I said Giannis. We go back and watch the tape. I promise you. No, Giannis. No, definitely Giannis. Nobody else. Nobody else is in that but Giannis. Yeah, not Jokic. Giannis.
Oh, he's not great.
He's a superstar. He's a superstar. I mean, he won a league MVP 2 times. Okay, that's nice. Steve Nash
he's going to win 3 times. He's going to win 3 times.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but that don't make him, Steve Nash won 2 MVPs. Does that make him one of the greatest point guards ever played the game? No, he was the greatest player for that year. That's all it is. I mean, that's all. Jokic is great, but he has to win a chip. I mean, Jokic is not great. Jokic is a superstar. He's got to win a chip to be great.
You said that you don't need him. You said you don't need him. Let's get out of here. Listen.
All right.
Thank you for joining.
I did.
Yeah, listen, we enjoy. Please like, share, subscribe. We'll get this. We'll understand, and there is something going on.
This on the next one. We start the show off with this topic on the next show. All right.
Hey, listen. Next time we're gonna see about going. We're gonna see about going live where.
Yeah, let's bring that topic live.
We can actually ask people. People can chime in, give us their top three, see if there's anybody currently other than Giannis, LeBron, and Steph Curry that are currently playing in the league that are great, that you would consider great.
Great. We're going to
Rod has definition
of great. We're going to find. We're going first.
Rod's definition of great. Rod's definition. Rod's definition of great.
We don't even know what D. What's your definition of greatness?
We don't have time for it today. We run out of time. We're gonna lead
the show off with that. D's definition of great. That's what we're gonna lead the show off with.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
But once again,
producers getting on us.
Shout outs to Infinite Audio for the music. We appreciate it.
Yep.
Shout out to Kingdom Creative for the production. What would we do without you? Once again, like, share, subscribe to our Facebook, YouTube page. Once again, Rod, it was a pleasure.
Oh man, this was good.
This was good, and
good barbershop talk here, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Until next time, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Peace.